All right, we're almost done.
Hello there.
Hello there. We're almost done with Star Trek Picard. One more stream. It's it's been okay. It's been perfectly adequate. So today's episodes: Surrender, then Vox, then The Last Generation. So Surrender, we're starting at 2 minutes and 1 second after the recap, after it comes back from the cut to black. 2 minutes, 1 second. Should be a star field.
Yep. I will need that countdown.
Yes, yes. All right. Share screen, share the countdown. There. Okay. So how about that weather?
Fine.
So
Lots of
you're
games
so
being
quiet.
announced this weekend.
It's nice right now. But my weather's about to change very rapidly. I'm about to get on a plane in like an hour, so I only get to enjoy one episode.
Why are you here if you're supposed to be at the airport?
I am at the airport. I'm at the
What?
gate.
That. Okay.
I mean, I've got nothing more to do.
All right. Well, we'll see you in America in, well, like 12 hours?
I'm in
How long is the flight? How long does it take to get here?
Already in America. I'm flying from America to America. Flying domestic. It's not something I do very often. It feels weird.
Okay. God, it's been... How long has it been since I've been on a plane? I feel like
There we are. It's fixed.
11 or 12 years since I've been on a plane. And that was like a little Cessna. It's been like probably closer to 16 or 17 since I was on a commercial flight in an actual big
Yeah.
plane.
It's probably been a long time
Been a
since I've
couple
gone a
years.
year without flying. Actually, no. I guess no. It was the pandemic.
Hmm.
Then I spent a year without flying. But not 2 years, I don't think.
Why do you fly so much?
I don't know, because I live in England and have family in the States.
Gross.
And before that, I was in grad school and interning in different interesting places.
Yeah, I think about places that I might want to go at some point. Like, I'd like to see the Grand Canyon. That'd be cool. It doesn't even occur to me that flying is an option. It's like, oh yeah, how long would it take to drive there? Oh, like 30 hours? Like, I could probably make that work. It's probably fine. Actually, I don't know how to make it work anymore because now I have a dog.
Oh,
She's never driven longer than 20 minutes. All right, minute and a half to start of Surrender. Again, it's 2 minutes and 1 second is going to be the starting point. Did you guys play Oblivion Remastered?
I'm still playing Expedition 33 multiple times.
Okay. Cool. I'll play that eventually, once things settle down. But then,
It's an incredible game. And there's lots
But
of
it's like-
games announced this weekend as
it's
well.
like turn-based Final Fantasy style combat. Is that true? Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
But it's very fun.
All right, I will take your word for it.
And you're also not sitting around waiting for the enemy to do things. Enemy turns to quite quick, and you're also having to block or parry or dodge their attacks, or
I
jump.
was like, I
or-
hope enemy turns are
something.
quick. It's an AI. What am I waiting around for?
Well, sometimes in Final Fantasy games, you're waiting like a minute for the animation to carry out.
Oh. I'll hold this because we're about to press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. in Slay the Spire, I really appreciate there's a setting to just triple the speed of the animations. Yeah.
Mm.
It's like, no, no, no. I'm just here for the numbers.
Yeah. Vedek's enjoying her control over the ship.
It's good to enjoy your work. Happy for her. Not happy for her smoking. That's bad for you, maybe. Still unclear if she has lungs.
Does, but
Jordy, you didn't think of that before when he was releasing all the changelings? Just unplug him? I guess, no,
yeah.
Lord locked the door. But you probably shouldn't have left him alone in the first place. I'm still blaming you. Yes. Good. Shoot the children. A little bit of Rogue One. That's nice.
Mm.
Though, Vatic, your boss doesn't actually want these people to die. They're supposed to be all Borgified, remember? Maybe she wasn't let in on the
Yeah.
plan. Also notice the sound effects playing over the comm of the guns. It sounds like modern rifles, not phasers.
Hmm.
No, now you're gonna damage their lungs, Vatic. That's so rude. You know, this whole sequence. This is the episode Rascals, but in reverse.
Mm.
In Rascals, all the old people were screwed and the children had to save it. Now all the children are dying, and those super old people have to save it. It's the same episode, but backwards. And with more mind control. Okay, this wasn't in Rascals. Wow. That. She's not just dead, she's pinned to the wall. That wall's made of metal. How hard did he stab it? Can we mind control Vatic? Does that work on changelings? Or no, he can only mind control them because they're part Borg, right? And he has special Borg powers? Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna kill them, Vatic, if your plan is to kill them, just do it. Don't monologue.
She doesn't have much time, so she's trying to get Jack as quickly as possible.
She can't risk killing Jack.
Crush his cigarette evilly.
My god. Would you kindly come to the bridge? Speaking of Bioshock, so there's a series coming out or a movie or something, but apparently it's not going great. Like massive budget cuts to it, and it's just
Oof.
so we'll see. I feel like it might be a little Section
Wah.
31y. Blah, yes. I'm concerned about it.
Hey, hello, Marina.
That's not Marina.
Not on
That's a
screen right now,
shapeshifter.
but
What do you
about to be.
mean? Wow, Marina's looking so different these days.
Here she is. So we know that they filmed these last 3 episodes close together.
Marina was in the US for like 2 days. It's like, we gotta go. Oh my god, you never learned how to. What's even the name of their language? What's their Betazoid? You never learned to speak Betazoid? Come on, Jonathan.
Hey guys.
Yep.
Hi.
You know, sorry to interrupt the flow of what was going on, but I just feel like this part where Troy says, "I removed your grief from you," that's like a violation of every single thing about being a telepath.
Yes.
Can she do that?
And you know, it made him more crazy though. But I think what she was trying to get at in her justification is that, like, you know, maybe that death of their son was so crushing that he was contemplating, you know, suicide or something. So in a way, she saved his life, maybe. But on the other hand, he does say, "You took something away from me." Hey, Robo. Yellow.
Hello. Oh, he left.
Oh, so you can sense emotions from the goo people. Okay, good to know.
So, well, then why wouldn't you Betazoids be like being perfect changeling detectors? Hey, I'm getting emotions from this vase.
Well, that would be inconvenient for the show.
Oh. Every security team would have a Betazoid. Why didn't she do it?
Because it would have killed him. Instead, she gave them access to the bridge. Good idea, 7. Come on, let him die.
If I remember correctly, doesn't he die anyways?
Well, yeah, but he gets to have a moment. Ooh, TOS whistle.
Is it boatswain?
Yes.
Boatswain whistle?
Jordy, stop listening in sadness and keep working. Fix your robot.
Yep. I mean, he does later on in the episode.
Well, speed it up, man. Oh, she's so excited to murder these people.
Yep.
She's having such a good time.
Who? Crusher? Beverly? Yeah.
Beverly doesn't even have her shotgun anymore.
Beverly is a stone cold killer. Look at all the people she killed in TNG.
I don't think she killed anybody. What are you talking about?
Through her medical malpractice.
Nobody? Are you thinking are you thinking of that other doctor who fixed Worf's spine?
No. The one that looked like Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
Bit of a clunky queer analog.
Jack, stop being so cryptic. That's not... There we go. Now you're explaining. I really hope this response from Beverly is like, is he having a psychotic break right now? Yes. Thank you, Beverly.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's turning into a young adult novel.
He's not like all the other boys.
Oh, he's Harry Potter. Oh, he's Percy Jackson. Oh, he's Katniss Everdeen. What was the one from Divergence? I don't know.
I have no idea.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I've forgotten most of Divergence.
Yep. So has everybody
It's been
else.
a very long time since I watched that.
I haven't really. I know a bit about the.
It's been a long
but I haven't
time.
looked at it.
Getting from there to here.
It's been a long road. With Divergence, the person I was watching it with was really into it, and then we watched the second movie together, and even she was like, "Yeah, no, I'm out."
They never finished the movie series, right?
I don't know.
I think so.
They canceled the final one. It's just really a shame because like it's one thing for it to be mediocre, but it's another thing to leave you hanging. So, did I hear correctly that they're trying to get a second season of The Acolyte with a fan thing?
A little bit, but it does deserve a second season. It's great.
It does not deserve a second season.
It does. It was a great show.
It was aggressively mediocre. Offensively mediocre.
It was fine.
No, it was great.
It was, well, like, is fine good enough for Star Wars?
Listen,
For the property?
If they just stopped doing the thing where they had the dramatic cliffhanger at the end of every episode, like, there's something I have to tell you. You were cut to black. It's like, if they stopped doing that, it would have been great.
Why don't you fix it? Why don't you take all the episodes and splice the beginning of the next episode onto the end of the other episodes? There's
Just
no
make
cliffhanger.
one long movie that's like 6 hours.
And see if it's any better.
Hanson, you're more important. We have a contract. Besides, 7, it's more meaningful, or it's more impactful on the crew if you murder the children.
Although she said before that she was going to try to find who's most important to them. She's not done a good job of that.
The prophets love him.
He should just keep saying his name, rank, and serial number.
Yeah, Chief O'Brien had it covered. What's with you, dude?
He's Bajoran. Did
Yeah.
Bajor join the Federation?
Probably, but also, even at the time of TNG, there were Bajorans in Starfleets. Namely Ro,
There
but there were
was
others as well.
two. There was Ro, and then there was the one from Wesley's Fight Squad. What? Subvert expectations.
Yeah, now there's bits of Lieutenant Devine floating in the air. That's really the downside of disintegrating people. It's kind of
Well,
gross.
it's like 73% water, so it should be a big steam cloud, right?
Actually, if you were to vaporize someone like that, you would blow up the entire room and probably a bit more.
There's a fine
What?
Lieutenant Mist now.
So, all right, if you take the volume of water that's inside of a person, right?
But just
And
the
you
volume of water
rapidly-
to vaporize it would be an immense amount of energy.
Hold on, you let me finish. And you rapidly decompose it into oxygen and hydrogen, which then explodes. How powerful would that explosion be?
Someone's done the maths. It's massive.
I would ask Mark,
Someone's done
but
the
unfortunately
maths.
he's dead.
Unfortunately,
What happened to Mark?
If,
I
Or if-
I killed him. I executed him like she executed Lieutenant Devine.
Why did you kill Mark?
it was a
Because he cost
cost-cutting knife.
$22 a month.
Oh no, we don't want a big scene between Freights and Marina here. So talking
We should
about
do
the
a donation
Rick.
drive. Save Mark.
Sorry,
Save Mark. Save the clock tower.
Is
Save
there a
the
reason why you
Jade.
like the theme, Soma?
well, we're talking about Deanna's taking his brief.
Yeah.
Why not, Marina? What's your name? Troy.
Oh.
That would be so convenient.
mm-hmm.
See, I really like that they were married and then they got to show us there's still stumbling blocks in a marriage. So it's good tension, good character development. You know, because a lot of people hate this show, but Picard's character arc, he has to learn how to be a father. Troy's arc, that they were in love, you had a kid, now maybe our life wasn't meant to be together. So, like, this whole fiasco saves their relationship.
He was meant to be with Worf.
I mean, they were always Imzadi though, so not really.
I don't know. When everyone turned into reptiles and fish and shit, her and Worf got together immediately.
Yeah, I mean, he was always the second character. Plus, we know Riker was a playboy.
Riker was a caveman.
Riker would have been fine without Troy. Troy kind of needed to settle down.
Barclay really got the worst of it. That was
Why?
rough.
Yeah,
Whoa!
so, you know,
Because he was
I'm
a
so glad he's-
Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Spider Barkley, Spider Barkley.
Why not both?
No, so
It would have
I'm glad
been
you said Bar-
fantastic if he evolved into actual broccoli. That would... I would have loved it.
This week I was watching the Project Pathfinder episode where Barclay creates a micro wormhole in Voyager to talk to Voyager, and everyone thinks he's crazy, and everyone thinks he's hollow addiction. But we actually see Marina Sirtis be his psychologist there. And quick plot point: so she cancels her vacation to help Barclay with his issue. You know,
Restoration or continuation of the torture.
It
Yeah, that was
sounds
very
like
cute.
he's hitting on her, but no, it's just discussing what he's learned from therapy sessions.
It's personal philosophy. So Barclay, Deanna Troy in that episode, she cancels her vacation to help Barclay with his Voyager issues, obsession, and in this episode, when she's Data's therapist in the finale, she's booking her vacation while her patient is talking because she's learned you don't cancel your vacation just to take patients.
Hopefully, Marina has learned work-life balance in the last 20 years.
Yeah. But fun fact,
Marina,
if she hadn't
We have
Troy,
canceled,
when
one.
you're on
Data.
vacation, turn your communicator off.
yeah. I mean, Americans don't know what that is, though. We just
Americans don't know what a communicator is.
we don't know how to turn off our job during our vacation. We're kind of threatened by our bosses, and we give in. Europeans laugh at us for that. Hey, Robo, your taste in wine is pedestrian at best.
My what?
Oh snap!
I'm
My
quoting
what?
the show
What?
here. The way we know Picard is not a changeling is because LaForge tells him, last time we had dinner 10 years ago, you told me my taste in wine was pedestrian at best.
Yep.
Did you like wine?
Just casually saying, "Oh, it just erased Lord." That feels a little like murder.
Yeah, that's exactly what Geordie's just saying. You can't take a life.
But what if it's an evil life?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Lord turned off his ethical subroutines in Descent. So, you know.
Sorry, is this Broken Pieces? Episode 8? Or is this episode 9?
This is episode
Oh, wait, I'm
8.
Okay, sorry, I'm in the wrong season. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, at
So I
least
have
it's not a.
lots of TNG references.
Soma.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're playing War Thunder.
Not particularly at the moment.
Oh,
Okay, that.
there's
No,
reference.
if you're playing War Thunder in a
What episode is
PE8,
this? This
marks
episode
the map.
was. What's it called? It's the first Moriarty episode.
Ship in a bottle?
Elementary.
Elementary, My Dear Data. Okay. So I want us to try to name the actual episodes all these references are from. Also, I appreciate that this isn't a solid white void like it usually is.
Mm.
That's
Yeah,
still
like
Elementary,
Travis.
My Dear Data.
Yeah.
But that's a second reference to the episode. Oh, hey, buddy. Lore, you tried to kill people, and you succeeded in killing a lot of
Is
people.
that a reference?
Come on, man.
Him being abandoned is a reference. Yes.
Sure. I don't know if he's talking about being shot into space
Oh,
or disassembled on his planet, but either way.
He was abandoned 3 times. He was abandoned by Soong on the planet, whatever the planet they found data on. He was abandoned by the TNG crew in space. And then finally,
Evolution,
end of
that's the
Descent.
name of a Star Trek episode. Wow. It's weird to me that Worf only refers to Ralphie by her full name,
What's
Yeah.
her full name?
Rafaela.
Rafaela.
Ooh, free parietal lobe.
Mm.
How are your guys' parietal lobes? They doing okay?
I assume so.
As far as I know.
Hmm.
Mark, what does the
Did you ever
parietal
see?
lobe do?
I thought Mark was dead.
Well,
I
he's
think he
certainly
just
not
renamed-
responding.
So, has anyone seen the excellent Jeffrey Combs movie From Beyond?
No.
I've seen Deep Space Nine. Could it be? I really hope it's just a grenade. Just kill everybody on the bridge at once. It's worth it. Just do it. Oh, come on. Well, hopefully he's holding... Wait, I think he is actually holding grenades now that I think of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's smart.
This is a plot point from Pirates of the Caribbean. With... Yes, well done. He's holding a thermal detonator.
That's from Return of the Jedi, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I was watching that same Barclay Voyager, Deanna Troy Voyager episode. Oh, sorry, something else though. So last week we saw, well, I think 2 weeks ago then, we saw the discussion between Beverly and
That's
Picard
tricorder.
about how come you
It's not
never
really a
told me.
specific reference, but alright.
Yeah, it's definitely a prop from that era.
What's that music in the
So-
background?
That
he
is
listen to
either
that
Bach or
It wasn't
Beethoven.
named at first.
It's either Bach or Beethoven. I want to say it's Beethoven, but I think it's Bach actually. So
Tasha Yar.
in start
Oh, here we go.
This is from the episode. I think we first saw
Where
it in
silence
his
is
trial,
evil?
right?
Where
This
Evil
little
Has No
hologram.
Lease.
Yeah.
Silent Evil. That's what it is.
Skin of Evil is where she died.
Skin of Evil. Thank you. So in Star Trek 2, Picard and Dr. Marcus have a conversation which is literally the same thing as what... No, sorry, Kirk and Dr. Marcus have the same conversation as Dr. Crusher and Captain Picard, where it's like, you never told me you had a son. Yeah, but you were gallivanting across the galaxy. And it's like, you should have told me. And it's awkward silence when the son gets there because he says we don't need him. And he's nothing but a glorified Boy Scout. Overgrown Boy Scout.
No point resisting a subtle resistance is futile reference.
Mm.
Man,
I love the shot where Hansen gets to
Who?
sorry, seven and nine. Gets to make up with
Hanson. Bop.
7, you fool. Detonate, Jack. Do it.
This is so much suspense, but one thing that was upsetting. They
Is it
really just
suspenseful?
pull off a Negan kind of execution, and that's just a lot for a Star Trek show. You know, we don't really do execution style killings in Star Trek.
Yeah, we do.
Sure we do.
We blow them out of the sky.
Remember Kirk's son?
Yeah.
Leon bastard, he killed my son.
Yeah, now I remember. Well, I mean, I haven't watched Star Trek 3. I was just watching Star Trek 2.
His son doesn't look anything like them.
Just imagine this guy bald, if it helps.
No, I mean Kirk's son
David,
in
Star Trek 2.
Star Trek 2 and 3.
David.
I want to see. I'm trying to find a Photoshop of Jack without his hair. I want to see how much he looks like Picard there.
So she's really suspenseful here. She doesn't give us any of the plot. And she's just like, you know all those voices you hear? I have something to do with that. Something I don't get though, okay? So they put the stuff in his organs, but they couldn't have found like another human and programmed his organs to be Locutus like.
It's so much work.
Yeah.
Listen, the name of the show is Picard, not some random guy.
Okay.
So everything must tie back to Picard.
Although, okay, so here's another thing that's stupid about that. Not to complain. So all of the final episode of TNG, All Good Things, Picard is not trusted because of his Irumodic syndrome. So apparently he never had Irumodic syndrome. That was a misdiagnosis.
That's okay. Not a reference to a
That-
specific episode. That's a reference to like 30 episodes.
Yeah.
The one that comes to mind is Cause and Effect, where he was the dealer and
Yeah. Right,
the ship
of
exploded
course.
a bunch.
I probably had the most poker.
The most
Also,
poker per poker.
The one that comes to mind is Stephen Hawking, Isaac Newton, and Albert
That's
Einstein.
true. That was a notable one. But that wasn't him playing
Well,
poker with his
Yay.
friends, really.
Yeah. But then they
Fetus
have
catus
there's
is
another
your
reference.
taxonomic nomenclature and endothermic quadruped, carnivorous by nature. Your visual, olfactory, and auditory senses contribute to your hunting skills and natural defenses.
and though you cannot comprehend, I nonetheless consider you a true and trusted friend.
He,
Thank you.
And mind you, Brent Spiner hates cats, so he's doing his best right now to act for us.
Does he?
Yeah, I think so. That's why the writers actually put it in there, because I wish I had feline supplement number 89.
You eat cat food?
No, for my cat, so I could replicate her different treat every time.
okay, now that it's lore fully, shoot him.
No, because
Oh, lore is being overpowered by the power of cats.
Friendship.
hey, you know those mementos
Of
I
course,
gave you?
blue is the
Power.
good color.
Self-integration.
I love this. I love this so much because Lore's life was completely trash compared to the fulfilled life Data lived. Lore built a cult of personality among the Pakleds, no less.
Among the Borg, the orphaned Borg.
Yeah, before that though, he had the Pakled probably worshipping him. We look for things to make us go. See, that's the thing. Like, you never had any. You
I
know,
don't feel so good, Data.
there was a kids movie when I was a kid, The Never Ending Journey, and the kid who's the hero gets one wish. Otherwise the evil queen will take over the whole kingdom.
Oh, the never-ending story. But when he makes a wish, he loses a memory.
And his only wish though, his last wish is, I wish for you to have a heart. And she sheds one tear and she stops being the bad guy. So that's how
And he lost all of his memories. Sebastian.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so I haven't watched it since I was like 6 years old. But
That
I feel like
is
that's
a
what we.
terrible wish. That kid was risking everything. Do you know how easy it would be to twist that semantically? Oh, this person already has a heart. Congratulations. They're so good at pumping blood now.
True. But he just made the
Dang it, you
Ice
can't
Queen
say
cry.
that.
So Lore needed to understand that, like, you know what makes life meaningful? Not like destroying organic life forms with silicon entities.
Rafi, there better be a force field. No, Rafi, what are you doing? They have guns.
Yeah, but she's doing the Elnor thing.
Why though? Wait, why
She
are they
learned from
using
home.
swords now? I know they have guns. Ah, he's doing Gandalf. Okay, so now we're adding in a bit of lore to Star Trek. The top window, it's not just a nice viewport.
Uh-oh, we got an F-bomb.
That's so dangerous. That's so dangerous to have that feature.
Yeah.
It's true.
This bit doesn't make much sense. So I suppose it'd be a little bit more.
As we've discussed many times,
No,
not how space works.
changelings can survive in space.
Yeah, that's the point. However,
But they also
she's
send them out
modified.
into space to travel as children. And we've seen changelings travel in space in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, General
Okay.
Martok was a space whale or something.
There is an
Yeah,
argument that she's been modified enough that
right.
it makes it that she can't survive in space, but
Remember,
still.
she's a meatbag changeling. She's not a regular changeling. So the meat part of her froze and shattered into a million pieces.
My God.
Maybe she's not dead. Maybe she just has to like work on getting her goo back together.
That's what
gonna
I'm
take a
wondering.
while.
How much of the earthworm do you cut in order for it to regrow? Because how much goo do you lose and you're no longer the changeling to
Oh my
reconstitute
God.
him or herself? What are you doing, Robo? What's
Interesting
going
that
on?
they're using TOS torpedo sound effects.
Hmm.
You okay, Robo?
That's murder war. Okay, whatever.
I mean, see, the thing with changelings is you have to make sure
Casual
they're dead.
cleanup.
You don't want to leave that for
Snap at
somebody
the
else to
wrist,
mop
Worf.
up.
Remember that time Marina snapped your wrist? Terrible security officer.
They were under the influence.
They were possessed by an alien entity.
So, I've concluded this Picard golem. He's really like an organic replica. Like, he's very organic. He's not that robotic. It really is like a full organ transplant that the doctor in the 21st century was saying. And then Data here is fleshy, right? Because he walks funny.
No,
It's a new
he's
body.
still a robot man.
He's still a positronic android?
Yeah.
Okay. Because he walks a little dopey here.
Well, that's just
And
because
I just-
Brent is like 85.
Well, he's no. he's a genius actor who knows how to bring a new spin on the same role he's been playing for 25 years.
Well, that music is a reference. Just the TNG theme.
Yeah.
So the thing is, though, Pinocchio, Pinocchio,
No, I didn't. It's another contraction, of course.
well, I reckon
That's
do you
also a
remember
reference to
Data
TNG because that was a
Yep.
inconsistent plot point, but they tried to make it consistent and failed miserably. But they tried.
Yep.
Do you remember Data saying "I reckon" once to Riker?
Attic Commander. That's such a good episode. It's so stupid.
What, a fistful of datas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know the episode Second Chances?
Yeah, you were mentioning it before with
The-
Jeffrey.
nope. I don't think I was, but Second Chances was the one where they had the duplicate Riker created by the transporter accident.
Oh yeah.
And the working title was originally "Oops, Too Many Rikers."
It's
Thomas
true.
Riker was his name. Lieutenant Thomas Riker. Okay, so if
Maybe
the
Thomas could have just gone by Bill instead.
so this is the first time we ever had our crew at the table since the movies.
Let's see. I believe, closing my eyes, I think Data is usually on the
Mhm.
right side of the table, but
Mhm,
on the furthest away from the captain.
mhm.
Geordi is 2 seats down on the right side of the table. I believe
Oh.
Worf is in the middle.
This
Mhm.
this is the writers telling you to quit whining about that, about taking that scene back.
Taking what back?
Taking the death
Data's
scene
death.
back. Which, I mean, it's definitely less putting you now. There's no avoiding that.
Yeah.
Beverly, you're supposed to be on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
I think Beverly is where Riker would sit in TNG. That's gross.
Do you know the observation room's kind of a TNG reference? They built this whole room just so we could have this scene.
We built this city.
We built New Vertiform City.
We built this city on
Plywood, mostly.
rock and roll. Photons and force fields.
It's definitely plywood. At least in TNG. I don't know what
instead
materials they use here.
Instead of destroying the strike, they could have like commandeered the strike and like used it to attack. The
Good
fleet.
guys aren't allowed to use any vessel that goes bois.
Okay.
It had to go.
Wah,
Yeah, true. Plus,
wah.
that ship created, has been harassing us for 8 episodes, so it makes sense to blow it up. I'm just saying, like Earth, the Earth might get bombarded, so
It'll be fine.
Get bombarded by what?
Ships.
Our own fleet. So, because it's a little slow. Never mind. I love this here. Later, Jack says the fact that she's a betazoid brings up serious ethical implications by Starfleet to use somebody who can just probe people's minds like that.
All right, we can solve all of our problems with therapy.
Mm.
You cannot.
Well, they're gonna try.
You may try.
See, that's what
Is that
I'm
an
really
Anakin
creeped out
reference?
by Deanna's role here. She comes in to help him, but she winds up institutionalizing him. It's kind of weird. She's normally a hero, you know?
You underestimate my reference.
I don't get why people hate the sand line. He's totally right. Sand's the worst. It does get everywhere. And it is
True,
coarse
I
and rough and
guess.
irritating.
Also, he grew up on a Tatooine planet, so he's gonna understand how his whole life is gonna
I was
be
going to
through the
call you out
paradigm.
for saying a Tatooine planet, like Tatooine is a type. But based on just the
Mhm.
rest of Star Wars that has come out since, yeah, it is. There's so many planets that are just Tatooine.
Yeah, true.
That doesn't look anything like Jupiter. It's spooky Jupiter.
Jupiter.
All
So
right,
suspense.
Giants, you have a plane to catch.
Apparently it's delayed a bit, so
Okay.
Of course it is.
boarding process is delayed. Yeah, the
Got
timing
it.
was
Next
going to work out
episode is
nicely. That
Vox.
should have been boarding starting to board right about now.
Vox, of course, is the word for voice, where locutus was
Latin.
the speaker. So
Locutus is the transmission. The one who is speaking, Vox is the voice itself.
yeah.
The word
So
eloquent.
what does locutus mean?
It's
one
the
who's
speaker.
like eloquence or interlocutor?
All right. Oh, start from 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. I wasn't going to start from 0, but I forgot to skip forward to see how far ahead the recap was.
Oh, and we're not doing 5 minutes? Play?
What do you mean? We're starting right now.
Okay. So a quick history blurb from last week, because that was when we did the Three Blind Mice episode. The Renaissance was the age in which humanity started doing more art and science and rediscovering classical
In Western
things
civilization.
in Western civilization. And it's amazing because that leads to the Enlightenment, in which people get over their religious dogma and they build like republican government based upon equal citizenship by everybody in society. And normally we call that all, and that leads obviously to science like Galileo and Newton and the amazing technology which we enjoy today.
This description sounds
So
very whitewashed.
And also, by the way, by 1960 we go to the moon. So the power that we have through nuclear energy and to even reach into space is really like for any species to achieve this is really astounding. so it begins with the discovery, the age of exploration. So this is all liberalism, the idea that we have equality and free speech and everything. Just the dark side is, right? The dark side of like this liberalism and Renaissance and Enlightenment. The same people who came up with the Enlightenment, they kind of racially categorized everyone and enslaved people based on those racial categories. Later on, in World War II, we had eugenics and other stuff. So,
Hang on,
also the same.
What's the Star Trek relevance?
So the Star Trek relevance is,
He's
we
slowly
look at-
working his way towards the Third Reich.
we look at like the Federation as the pinnacle of science and technology, but even they were doing
No, that's the Borg.
Yeah, but look, we're a democratic, technological, peaceful society, okay? And we believe in
Is the
science.
Federation? Hold on, wait. Is the Federation democratic?
Yeah,
Unclear.
We didn't force those member worlds to
yeah,
join.
it's unclear. You don't know. You don't know if individuals get to vote in anything. It's
All
never
we know
shown
is
on
there's a
screen.
president and a Federation council. That's it.
Okay.
That's all we know.
Member
For all
worlds-
you know, all the
Bajor
world's
didn't
member
wanna
planets
join,
can be
and they didn't
could be monarchies. They just send a representative to vote in the the
Look, Bajor
Federation
didn't wanna
Senate. I don't
join.
know, council.
Nobody was
They
mad
don't
at
even,
them.
we don't even know if the council gets a vote on anything, really.
We know the
I'm
council
just
gets a vote because it's a plot point in some Star Trek that they're specifically going against council orders or whatever. Like the council has voted against this course of action.
See,
Right.
see, everyone imagines that the government in Star Trek works like their preferred version of a government, and that's it. Whatever isn't shown on screen, people fill in the gaps with their own preference, and that's what they assume. So it's everybody's version of a perfect government simultaneously.
Kind of how,
Unless
like
you just
what
hate
how they do with
councils.
money.
Yeah, committees are the worst.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Everything
this
done
is
by
why-
committee is bad.
This is why Europeans and Britons are mad at the European Union. They're like, what kind of
Because they hate
democracy is
councils?
it if the European Council and the European president, who's not even democratically elected, get to decide our foreign policy, our economic policy? Like, it's kind of weird. But
Well, people are stupid, so I'm not sure if you want to let them democratically elect anybody.
that's what the European Commission says. But that's the tension.
So
but
Memory
the prob-
Alpha says it's a federal constitutional republic, but they
Okay,
also
republic means-
say that the exact nature of the government has never been made clear on screen.
That's
Okay,
correct.
But here's, okay,
That's
but
my
here's-
point I'm trying to
here's
make.
the thing. But I don't mean to. I feel like you guys are being a little difficult, but I did graduate with a degree in political science. Okay, so look,
This isn't
democracy.
real politics, though. This is a TV
Yeah.
show.
A democracy is about many different things. It's not just the fact that you have elections. Do you have
I think that is the single
No.
defining element of a democracy.
No, there
Because-
is a lot more to what is
Democratic
a-
So
elections.
do you have a
Full
peaceful transfer of
democracy.
power? Do you have a military subordinated to a civilian government? Things. Do you have freedom of press, opposition parties? So the
All
thing
of
is,
that is unclear.
yeah, true. There's no opposition parties in the Federation.
Or there
we,
could
we
be. We
don't
just
know
don't see
if there
them.
are parties generally. We know that
keep it all
the
vague,
planets have
yeah.
some form of ability to say we don't do this or do this. We don't actually know if the Federation has to listen to it per se even.
Okay. Just the idea
Apart
is
from Discovery, apart from the time of the Federation being reformed, then we do have a lot more information about how the government operates.
so you guys are just saying they're fascists. Okay.
I don't know.
It's all
Do you remember the episode of D Space Nine where they just started putting Starfleet security all over the planet,
Yeah.
That
and
was a
they were
coup.
forcing people to take blood tests?
Yeah.
Well, that just shows that they can be fascist.
They don't know what posse comitatus is, huh?
It does honestly seem like the Federation is.
Yeah.
It's a thing where it's a Big Brother state, but Big Brother just chooses to leave you alone.
Mhm.
They have the power, they just don't usually use it.
Yeah, that's called a benevolent dictatorship. Singapore was kind of like that idea. Like
Oh
they'll
my
throw you in
god, it's the
jail.
same villain we've had every season.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Bwah.
Who could have
What
seen
a
this coming?
surprise.
Shocking.
That is a good shot of the cube, though.
That's an
Yeah.
amazing shot of the cube. Thank you for saying that, Ryan.
It should have been a different villain by now. But if we're going with the Borg, I like these Borg. Why is it Vux? Is that how it is in
Yeah.
Latin? I actually
Yeah, I
don't know
can't
how to
quite
pronounce
tell.
that accent mark. I just assumed it was an
Maybe
umlaut
Vokes.
pronunciation.
Maybe it's supposed to be a Macron. I assume it's supposed to be a Macron because that's the only
Locutus.
diacritically you really see that much in Latin transcriptions.
Oh, hey, Avid.
That's a reference to Best of Both Worlds.
Parch 1. All right, I now have a dog in my lap.
Nice.
I'm not perfect in my gifts, but I've never mistaken the Borg. Oh, Counselor Troy.
Counselor, she's on the council? Wow. Sung, maybe you should have told somebody about the Borg.
Mm.
She's not a counselor. She's a member of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away. Oh. I guess I should do that, huh? Okay.
Should what? Take her away?
Upgrade one of the vehicles in my lineup to the new event vehicle that I unlocked.
Jean-Luc, yes, it's your fault, but you can fix this. Walk in there and execute him. It'll solve all your problems. Are you taking command, Deanna? No? Okay. Aphid, why are you licking my armrest? What are you doing?
My cat tries to, when she's in heat, she tries to lick my armpit. I'm like, can you get away from there?
You get your cat fixed, and then they won't go into heat.
True.
Spay your pets.
Yep. Like Bob Barker said, spay and neuter your pets. Help control the pet population.
I just don't let her outside, but I have not spayed her or neutered her.
Well, Aphid is spayed. I'm sorry,
was
I'm
he
revealing your personal medical information.
Was he already spayed when you got him?
He was spayed. You can't spay a he.
Was he already?
I'm not sure if you're familiar.
So
It's
spay means
aphid
to
is
remove the uterus.
Okay.
And
Neuter-
neuter is the
neuter-
testicles. So she is spayed.
Yeah.
And yes, all
but
animals
usually-
you adopt from a shelter are spayed or neutered by default.
yeah. It's a requirement.
But
So was Q just trolling him with the aromatic syndrome storyline?
in all good things,
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Why did he go in
Q-
there?
Q would have known. Obviously, we had to retcon the last episode a little bit. Or it was that he
It takes a generation to grow, so the next generation can deal.
Next generation.
The next
Da,
generation.
da, 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 da.
Jean-Luc
I
just
really
kill
like.
him.
I re- I really like how they lead Jack into the arms of the Borg, because the whole time is he's not Starfleet. He's barely even a Federation citizen because he lives outside its borders, and he never wanted to be in their custody, and yet when Counselor Troy tells on him, he has to be in their custody.
Oh, when I was looking him up to see if I could find him bald, I found some other information. How old does he look to you guys?
28.
34.
Does he look
35-ish.
34?
Yes.
30-ish. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's in his 30s.
Maybe-
He's supposed to be, what, 22?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
no,
supposed
it
to be
doesn't look 22.
That's Hollywood. They always cast.
But, like, we're not talking about teenagers who have work restrictions. They could get a 22-year-old.
No, okay, but he was like a famous child actor, and he's also kind of gorgeous. So.
Oh my god, he just swore on my Star Trek. That's not true. You only almost killed some of the people. Are you saying you didn't love your brother and your nephew?
No, I think what he means is he endangered the whole crew and best of both worlds.
You know, if Picard Locutus had succeeded in assimilating Earth, his family would still be alive right now.
You're so messed up, Ryan.
Am I wrong?
You belong on a research academy in Vulcan. This is where they put Cybok and Spock in Discovery. That's the thing, right? You're your own free person. What exactly?
The needs of the many, Jack. I really appreciate that. It's so rare that they actually try to enforce security protocols. I really appreciate that they actually are here.
Mm.
Jack,
Yeah.
are you trying to mind control the guards?
Yep.
Jack.
No, I got it. I got. Sorry, Jarvis. What did you say?
Wasn't me.
That's just
So I gotta
airport
say-
noise.
I gotta say, it's when he says you never issue the protocols of a father, he is like guilt tripping his dad a little bit. But okay, so the way
He's
I
just
don't
gonna
like
give
this.
himself to the Borg. Jack, that's
That's
such
just
a bad plan.
Yep.
The whole season has been trying to get him not delivered to the Borg, and now this guy just undoes everything.
He's not gonna be killed. He's gonna be assimilated. It's not the same thing.
But the only thing is, though, what I like is though the character feels extremely betrayed, almost like he knew Starfleet was going to do this to him. And Beverly does say in episode 1, Starfleet is compromised. Don't bring them into this.
I can't imagine, no matter how upset he is at his family, that he would willingly go be assimilated by the Borg.
Why not both
Va-
what?
That's crazy person
Vatic-
behavior.
Vatic tells him, "You've been hearing these voices all your life, and I'm the one who can make it make sense." So he's had this like nagging thing since childhood, where he needs to like answer the call. The same call Locutus has.
Are we gonna go after him? We have a warp drive. No? Alright.
I like this line by Picard.
Oh,
We
that's
admit-
there's a reference.
But
yeah,
not to,
Oh.
well, sort of to 2 and G.
Yeah, that's the
travel.
fake Native American episode. That was fun.
That was earlier. It was a response about Troy Riker and Troy Worth.
Wef.
Oh, okay.
Kuchimoya. Kuchimoya.
Yeah, Beverly
He's
really
got
is a tragic
jowls.
figure here.
Yeah, he does. He had jowls ever since season 3 of TNG. The thinnest, sviltest Brent was season 1 Brent
Season 1 Brent was super
in
creepy.
his spandex.
You know, like he hadn't hammered out the role yet, and he was like,
Might have to get the steelbook set out of the closest and put it on to join along.
he was antisocial in ways that Future Data was not.
He
Might
is
have to ignite the
superior in many
midnight
ways.
petroleum.
Yeah. Also, like he cracks inappropriate jokes.
Inappropriate or unfunny?
He just warped straight into Jupiter.
That's fine. They solved the you can't go to warp inside a solar system. Now you can go to warp inside a planet.
Well, okay. The thing is, though, the Borg Queen gave him the coordinates. He just laid them in. So
Tachyon radiation.
all good things reference.
Oh my god, who builds a conduit inside a planet? That's crazy, Queen.
I think nobody would care to look for a Borg cube inside a big giant spot.
Big giant spot.
Jack, maybe you should leave.
Another amazing Borg shot. 'Cause it's through the view screen of the shuttle.
Jarings, there's people. There's airport people.
Oh, all right.
You might want to raise your threshold. Like set it manually and raise it up, because what happens if you leave it on automatic, it'll keep lowering the threshold until it detects human voices, and then it detects people, near you.
I'm just gonna mute it when I'm not talking.
Oh, so this is retconning. Not exactly retconning. It's trying to explain First Contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why could he still hear their voices, even though we got rid of all the Borg tech?
Because that never came up again in TNG. It was just
No, it
in the
didn't.
movies. It was just for drama in the movies.
Yeah.
And this is where the science falls apart. Full stop.
This is where,
No.
not the mind control.
Yes, that as well, but that's sci-fi stuff. That's not referring to a real-world thing.
No.
They're about to refer to a real-world concept that never actually existed.
Okay, let me try to give you the science. Okay. By the way, I know you're a physics teacher, so now let me.
Yeah,
I
by
know,
default, I'm gonna go with Soma.
Yeah, and also I understand Ryan also studied physics. Okay, so I'm okay, but here's the thing. So I had a friend who was in audio school, audio technical school, and he told me that a microphone and a speaker are the same technology. It's just one
Yes.
does the input and
Yes,
one does
that is
the output.
true.
It's just a magnet. So to me, it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense that like one is the receiver and one is
There's
the
a big caveat there. It's a yes, but
okay.
generally, what we use for microphones and what we use for speakers are radically different in design.
Yeah, but
Like
in
you
theory,
can have a piezoelectric microphone and you
Yeah.
can have a piezoelectric speaker.
Do I
But-
recognize USS Reliant? I saw that one. Any others? I didn't recognize the other ships.
Why is the
so-
Reliant upgraded?
Yeah, I don't recognize the others either.
Well,
But the
presumably
Huygens,
this
that's
isn't the same Reliant from Wrath of Khan.
right.
Is this Starbase 1? Because I don't remember Starbase 1 having
Yeah.
those things sticking out
It
of
is.
We added that.
This is in
For
orbit
this.
of Earth.
We added that now.
it. And the Enterprise F, man. The F gets a really, 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 really
The
bad
shortest
break here.
lifespan of any Enterprise.
It's also the chunkiest, so that just don't get
It's
more.
not chunky.
Yeah,
Ah.
I don't like that they destroy the F in this.
The Enterprise
season.
D is definitely the chunkiest Enterprise.
Yeah.
Commander
it's not-
Shelby.
By
Shelby, of course, is from Best
That
of
one.
Both Worlds as well.
she's Admiral Shelby.
She was here. Well,
This
she
is
was
a
commander
reference in the
TNG.
NX-01.
Do you remember when she was like on TNG? She was like 20, 25.
She was so young.
She was
Oh my
after
God.
Riker's
Here,
job
she's
as the
like
new upcoming
70.
hotshot.
Yep.
They make her
Yeah,
look
she
so
did an
old.
amazing role. Because one of the things that she gets up
Oh, she was
early
good.
and beams down on the planet before Riker does, and Riker's like, "Where the hell are you?" She's like, "Yeah, I already did the away mission. I woke up early."
Well, this is the same actor, so her aging is
Yeah.
how she actually
Appropriate.
would have aged because it's the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they aged her up.
A little bit.
That's a mix of a TOS
Why?
and
We've all gotten old.
newer
sometimes, though.
phaser.
We've all
So
That's
gotten
very
how-
much
old.
based
how
on
long-
TOS design.
It was
We've
30
all gotten-
years.
We've all gotten fat and old.
She looks more than 30 years older. She looks more than 55 or
I
whatever
don't
she
know
would
what
have
to tell you,
been.
man. That's her.
I
Hmm.
think that they aged her up with makeup.
No.
Look up the actress and see if
I
there's a
don't know what
picture
her
of her.
did
name
and
is.
she's-
Let me.
Look, I know my family ages more slowly than
Yes,
most
because this
people.
is a good
So I have
idea
a
after the
skewed
third time.
Okay,
perception.
Third time that it happens.
I looked her up. No, that's exactly what she looks like in real life.
All right.
Love the jackets they wear during this season.
By the way, that Wolf 359 battle would age you also. So there's a lot of stress.
This Final Frontier.
Was she
TNG
even
reference?
there? She wasn't there, dude. She wasn't at Wolf 359. The Enterprise wasn't there. They came
No,
in
She
the
was at Wolf
Final
aftermath
Frontier was
359
an original series reference.
in the debris fields.
after the battle. Yeah.
And yeah, Starfleet's fashion is really good. They keep getting better.
They hired Hugo Boss.
Nope.
They got more
Because
comfortable.
the Federation isn't a fascist dictatorship.
That's right.
Yeah, it's interesting
I
that you use a TOS phaser here.
That is cute.
I believe this is the voice of Alice Creek, the original Borg Queen.
Yes.
Cridge. Well, it might be Krieg, but
No, that's
And
a dumb
also,
name.
she
No,
has a
that's also
line
dumb
here.
name.
Poor day, I would have like that.
Is there really that accent mark? I didn't realize Latin used that accent mark. Are the subtitles correct?
Sorry, which
It was in
accent
the
mark did it use?
title of the episode.
The
Tilde
squiggly.
on there? No, there would have just been
Oh,
a
that's
lot.
definitely, it would have been a Macron.
Double
Yeah,
down.
the subtitles have the wrong critical.
Yeah.
Okay, based on Wikipedia, it looks like the accent mark is supposed to be a straight line, not a squiggly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Not even a
So you can't use words like Mecron. That doesn't mean anything to me. I need straight line or squiggly.
Umlaut? How about an umlaut?
I do know what an umlaut is, but only because I took German classes.
I saw the Simpsons episode where Mo the bartender is not allowed to sell Duff beer. So he puts an umlaut on the U and he says now Doof beer.
You ever fired a gun in the air and gone, ah?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, coming here was real dumb.
Well, that's irresponsible
Yeah.
of you. Stop it.
His mom was calling
No,
him.
I don't fire guns into the air. I think you know I don't
Obviously-
fire guns into the air.
He thought Picard and his mom were his real mom, but it turns out the Borg Queen is his mom.
Hey, they
So
said
the
that.
Borg Queen left a little surprise inside of Captain Picard's fun bag, and then when he finally used it, wait, all right. So how come Vash didn't give a little baby Borg?
It would have
Because
happened that way.
she
Vash didn't-
decided to do that. Specifically with Locutus.
No, Vash and Picard hooked up after
So
Picard had
they-
been deborgified.
They must have
Yes,
had-
They
but
didn't
they
have a
didn't have a
child.
baby.
That's sort of an important part.
The point I'm trying to make is that the premise is that the Borg put something in him that was used to make Jack, right? So there should have been nanoprobes in Captain Picard's ejaculate when he had sex with Vash. All right, I had to paint the
this
picture,
isn't-
spell it out for you.
That's not
So
what
it would have, they would have made it.
rewrote Jean-Luc's DNA, and that DNA is what got into Jack. They said that in the Daystrom Institute thing. They like
Now, you see,
reconstituted.
Robo, the thing is, sex doesn't have a 100% pregnancy rate.
Well, it does when you have nanoprobes assisting.
He didn't
just
have
chill.
nanoprobes.
They could-
They rewrote his DNA.
I don't know, man. I think that they would. 7 of 9 still has nanoprobes inside of her. I'm sure Locutus would still have nanoprobes even after they removed.
But you're making a leap of logic.
I'm just saying. What about that woman that played the roll up keyboard with Picard?
Lieutenant Darren.
There should be like a whole franchise of Picard Borg children. Picard orphan support group. They meet at 10 forward. Thursdays at
As
6 p.m.
upset as I am about Shelby dying this way, I really am
I'm
grateful.
not.
I mean,
She
we-
designed fleet formation. She deserves this.
mhm.
It's the worst idea any admiral has had.
True. But
That's a stiff competition too.
that is,
She became an admiral and immediately became evil.
yeah, true.
She's an up-and-coming
but-
hotshot with bright new ideas, like getting us all killed.
Fun fact: since the last week, once we gathered, Ukraine launched a massive drone attack on Russia. They put in container
Yes,
ships.
this is a
and-
bit I have a massive issue with because
Mhm.
there is no such thing that the prefrontal cortex stops developing at age of 25. The reason that people think that is because the studies that tested how the prefrontal cortex developed stopped at age 25 because they have to stop at some point.
Mhm.
There is no evidence that it stops.
Or like it's not advanced enough or something like that. Okay.
There's just no evidence that it stops developing full stop. It just
Yeah,
continues developing.
It's more of a popular misconception now than an
Yeah,
actual
it's a
scientific-
misconception purely because they had to cut off the research at some point.
So you're saying
So
the
they chose
misconception
25
about
as a
that
reasonable
is the same
point.
thing as the Mayan 2012 calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, okay, so there's no idea that like 25-year-olds are somehow more developed than 19-year-olds at making decisions about
No, they
like,
are.
That's
Should I
Because
should I
you are
shoplift
developing,
from-
you're constantly developing.
should I shoplift from Walmart? Like that kind of stupid choice.
Well,
for
Walmart,
Soma.
Yes.
So many
Heck,
people
Walmart.
stop developing at 12.
you know. So I
Soma,
watched
you
So
should go
many
play
people.
Warcraft 3
I
online.
disagree.
in Georgia. They'll charge you as an adult if you steal as a 17-year-old. So I mean, it's just kind of weird for me. I mean, at the same time that science is supposed to say that like a 17-year-old is not going to understand the consequences
Yep, he's
of their actions. So that's why people use that fact of the 25-year-old thing. It's like
Yeah.
you really can't punish someone until they're 25. But
You really, really can.
It-
Oh, all right.
It makes no difference, or very little difference. It just continues developing. It's not you become an adult
Oh.
at 25 because it stops developing. It doesn't stop developing.
Fun fact: at age
Looks like-
25, your consciousness activates.
before then, it's all
Oh.
pure pressure, huh?
So my flight is just about finally boarding. So
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess
Happy
I'm
Frontier Day.
I'm gonna miss the finale. Someone complained about the world's most predictable death line for me.
Yeah,
What is that?
So I guess
Commander 7.
Okay. Bye. Enjoy your flight.
Don't tell him what to do.
that's a Halo rifle.
They totally are. That's just an assault rifle from Halo.
That's so
I really
funny.
like how they were making.
I mean,
a Halo
it
movie
might
or
actually
series or
be
something.
one of the early props for the show
Could be. They were making
because it's the
a
same
Halo
company
movie
making them both.
like 15 years ago, and then it got canceled.
Mm.
But if you watch the movie District 9, they have a bunch of Halo
Love
armor
Geordie and
Halo
Data's
weapons
scenes together.
because they just
Here.
reused the props. They already made them.
Wait, you're
These
saying in
people
District
walking around
9 they're
with battle
using
rifles.
Halo armor?
Yeah, they're wearing Halo Marine armor and they're walking around with battle rifles. Let me see if I can. My God. USS Hikaru Sulu, USS Cochrane, USS. Any other cool ones? Not
Venture?
really.
Magellan? Well, the Venture was destroyed in Deep Space Nine, so
Why is he even broadcasting over comms? They're the Borg.
Mm.
I remember people freaking if Eleanor from season 1 and 2 was on the Excelsior, but Terry said that he wasn't.
Oh, okay. He survived by being off screen.
Eleanor.
Yeah, you know, from The Good Place.
What are these things on the outside?
Level.
Those are called
Attached to
nacelles.
Starbase 1. No, the
Pods?
pods. Yeah.
They just expanded it. They upgraded it to a citadel.
What is this? What are these shapes that they're
That's
making?
what fleet. I don't know. Is that Borg language? What is this? Don't worry.
Oh, my
They're
Gates. Gates McFadden. She's got a binder clip on the back of her neck, holding that skin.
old. Don't be mean to Gates.
I really look.
People
There's
kept
so many
thinking it
people in
looked like
Hollywood
musical
that
notes.
are
No.
so attractive, and then they get ridiculous plastic surgery, and they look like a cartoon caricature of themselves.
You look like a
Like
cartoon
the-
caricature.
Did you see that woman from The Boys that plays Starlight and what she did? It should be a crime.
People can do what they want with their own bodies.
Look at what she was. All right, listen. Objectively beautiful prior to the surgery, looks like
We died
something
quickly.
else
I love that.
altogether.
Oh, Data.
I hope we die quickly.
Data, no. That's not good for morale, Data. Oh, there he goes. Bye, Liam. No. Do the Andor thing where he doesn't get last words. He's just gone. You get shot, you're gone.
Oh yeah, so in like Star Wars and Andor and stuff, sometimes a blaster hits you in the shoulder and like you're fine, and sometimes a blaster hits you in the shoulder and you just die. So what's the deal with that?
The deal is how expensive is the actor.
Yep. Set up for the entire season.
So I feel like
Lawrence is right.
something is
Bridge,
really
I'm the captain.
interesting.
Must Todd last year told him he did an awesome job making a character almost every hated to who was loved by the end.
Oh, Todd Shadwick?
Stashwick.
Stashwick.
And he's originally from Chicago
He did
too,
really
so
good. Yes, Todd
he did a great
and Liam are from Chicago.
so because it's a cold city like New York, so we're kind of known for being like we don't have time to bullshit because it's too cold to bullshit up here.
The mild discrepancy there that they go out of the main shuttle bay.
Yeah, what's the discrepancy?
They specifically said they had to get a maintenance repair shuttle,
Yeah. True.
which would not be in the main
The
shuttle
Windy
bay by
City.
what they're talking about.
Good observation. Good observation. But how cool did it look though? Right?
Okay, now, this doesn't make any sense to me. The fact that Space Dock can withstand their fire for, like, days?
A few hours.
You never played Stellaris, Ryan?
Yeah, space stations aren't that strong in Stellaris. They're only good if you
I
very,
think-
very, very heavily fortify them with, like, a bunch of defense platforms.
I think so. In Star Trek: Birth of the Federation, the space dock would take like a couple of hours to take down.
Like Kira, wow. There's a Stargazer. There's a Constitution.
Oh, you know what? No, you're right. You're right, Ryan. It wasn't the Starbase. It was the Edo. It was just because the video game has programming, right? So the Edo
This musical
jellyfish.
cue is on the
Crazy,
vinyl
true.
record for season 3.
So I remember trying attacking the Edo jellyfish in Birth of the
Hold,
Federation.
please. We're having a moment.
For the biggest reference to TNG.
There's another starship coming in. It's the Enterprise.
It's the Enterprise.
I
It's a
think
different
Star Trek 1
Enterprise.
and 2 did this as well.
The Enterprise E is still my favorite of the Enterprises.
Oh, this is the Galaxy class reveal? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Enterprise D. Except not really. It's just a different galaxy class that he painted with
Oh.
the registry number.
No, it's the
Well,
same
it's the-
class
it's the
class
saucer
is the
section.
same.
with the Saratoga star drive.
Not to worry, we are still flying half the Enterprise.
The engines and nacelles come from the USS Syracuse.
Oh, right, not the Saratoga. Saratoga was Cisco's ship. Sorry.
Wow, Cisco would hate that Picard got his ship.
That was not
Um,
my fault.
What happened, Worf? Explain.
The
That line is
Uterakis
basically just
was
in there
she
to explain
surprised?
why we're going to the TNG Enterprise, not the Enterprise E.
Frankenstein's
Well,
Enterprise.
she's a spaceship. She's a
Ship of
spaceship Worf,
Theseus.
so she doesn't need to fly.
Also, we might be getting a worse series, so if we're going to explain what happened.
Okay, how
would be
much?
good.
No,
how many
I think
references?
that we
It's
had
like,
decided years ago that wasn't happening.
The
It's
plaque,
like every unique set from TNG a separate reference.
the plaque. No, and then, okay, something else though, this show hits all the check marks. When they give a nod to Majel Barrett Roddenberry at the end, when they say, I missed that voice. Because, through 3 shows, she carried us through as the computer voice. And at the end of the day,
Bring her
Siri
back.
and Google
The
and
thing is they did explicitly record her voice, and it's not an AI. They recorded every possible usage of her voice, every line they could ever want to use as a computer, and have never actually used it. They have a
Enterprise
complete
is a
database
topic
of her
that will keep
voice,
coming up till it's
and they've
finally
never
resolved
used it.
years from now.
Yeah, we're
Wow.
gonna get a story about the Enterprise E in like 2050.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Major
Soma,
would
I
totally
think-
have been okay with using AI to replicate her voice based on her recording.
But they don't
all
actually
those
need
vocal
to. So if I
samples.
remember rightly, they did actively record all of
They
her
did,
voice
But
recording.
I
Every
would bet
line
they
in the
don't have them
computer.
anymore. I would bet they lost it.
It wouldn't be that hard to reconstruct. I'm pretty sure the 5 of us could do it in like 5 days. So
The Magell Barrett line might be from Chain of Command.
Cloning people's voice with AI is trivially easy now. You can do it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
yeah, you can do it. It wouldn't take 5 people 5 days, but yeah. No, but I'm saying that if you like what Soma's talking about is a database of every use of her voice in. As
No,
the
I
computer.
don't mean they create a database. I
They
mean, they
literally-
actually hired her to
She
record
recorded all the
lines.
phonemes.
Oh.
So a bit like they record all the lines for public transport, they did that with her actual voice so they could use it in the future and then just decided not to use it.
Oh my god, Jordy, where did you get torpedoes?
Oh. Really? Okay. But I mean,
Okay, that
I'm
I
kinda
assume
glad-
is from Chain of Command. Yeah, I think you're right. That sounds like Chain of Command.
Mm.
When he took it back from Edward Jellicoe. Well, you're like 1/100th of the crew of the USS Enterprise. There are more people here, John.
you know,
Psy Music Q, the best.
so I'm glad.
I do love the last episode. The last episode is good.
I'm saying, I think Best of Both Worlds, right? That show changed the
Thank God Jordy
trajectory
didn't install
of.
a cherry for Worf.
If Picard gets a
Speak-
field demotion, he has to wear Kirk's captain uniforms from the motion picture.
Gross.
So one thing, I mean, look, I don't mean to nitpick. They did a great job. Like, I'm not complaining. But those 3 chairs, I noticed upon rewatch, they're actually not like bolted in. They're just like chairs that are on pegs, and the pegs are like the same color as the carpet. And so basically, they just have like, they're basically stands. They're just chairs that are built on stands because they
Yeah.
know that they're only going to use this for like 2 episodes.
Engage, that's a reference to TNG for sure. So where is the Fleet Museum? This isn't our solar
Alton.
system.
This is Alton 11. They said that.
I remember
Alton-
someone
it Jupiter?
posting that the D was listed in active status for a week on Wi-Fi when this episode aired.
Hmm.
On Wi-Fi?
By the way, that music was so epic.
Don't forget to look at where we start.
Ah,
When
yes.
we saw
We're going to skip the
TNG.
recap. So the final episode is
Wiki asterisk
The
asterisk.
Last Generation.
The Last Generation.
The Last Generation, which is strictly untrue. They're going to keep milking this franchise for the next 50 years, but it's fine. So we're going to start after the recap, which is going to be... Where is it going to be?
Well, as long as there's foolish people to sit around and watch it, I guess, right?
It's there.
Okay, so we're actually going to start where it says a CBS Studios production,
149.
because unfortunately it doesn't have a cut back to the visual. It's going to stay black for a while we get some voiceover.
Good idea.
1 minute 47 in.
Yeah, I have it at 149. It might vary ever so slightly based on your source. Press play
mine's
in
149.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A CBS Studios production. Fading out.
And then we get Borg sounding music too. By the way,
Anton
which
Chekhov.
is-
And this is actual Chekhov talking about it, stating
this
as
intro-
his...
Why is this the
Grandson.
TNG intro sequence?
because they know 5 people are going to be counting it someday. But I do like, then they upgraded the TNG intro to be Jupiter, which is great. Because Jupiter is part
This
of
is the actual Anton Chekhov actor. It's great.
the Jupiter with all the
This
new
is
NASA
Walter
footage.
Koenig, yes.
Yes.
Walter Koenig. Yeah. Koenig.
I think he says.
Well,
it
the
Koenig.
German word is König, but I think he says it Koenig.
I mean, he died.
Oh my God, President, you're plagiarizing the other president. Can't even write your own emergency call.
What other president was that?
That was the whale probe president who was avoid Earth.
Very nice, very nice. Good
What
reference.
cavalry? The whole fleet is here, Will. They're all assimilated.
Okay.
Also, this is just Battlestar Galactica. We need an old ship that's not connected to the network.
I do headcanon that, for example, the lower deck ships and all those other older ships are still somewhere else, but they're doing the normal day-to-day stuff.
The Alhambra, the Sacramento, they're ready.
Yeah, that makes sense because, you know, Frontier Day would be about flagships, not like second tier ships. So
They say
I
our
think
whole
Todd and
fleet
Walter
a lot,
were
but
neighbors,
fleet can mean
so he
multiple
asked Walter if
things.
he wanted to be in Picard, so he did the president's voice.
well, I mean,
Liam Shaw and Chekhov are just hanging out. All right.
beautiful shot of Jupiter. Jupiter is the most beautiful planet after Earth, I guess.
It's a pretty
But
did you say after Venus?
after Earth.
After Earth.
Earth-
It's like,
Earth
Venus
has
is
really-
lame, dude. At least from the
Earth
outside.
Earth has really interesting squiggly lines, I think. But only because I have names.
Wait,
for
hang
all
on.
of
So
them.
you can see the Borg cube from the outside.
No, just in the eye though. Like, you know, like 1,000 times magnification. So
But-
only if you're
But
looking
people
for
are
it.
constantly photographing the eye. We're watching the storm to see the dissipation rate. Why would you hide there? That's the most conspicuous spot. That's crazy.
Wouldn't have at the current rate wouldn't have already dissipated before
No,
this
this
I don't
time
think
of
so. I think
this?
it's supposed to
Yeah.
last for hundreds or
No.
thousands more years.
so
Thousands?
those
Maybe.
storms last for 200-300 years. That's how like one storm lasts that long. So
This current storm we started observing during like the
Galileo?
last couple centuries. We saw it form. So
Yeah, but within the massive storm, there's also other storms, like hundreds of smaller storms. The whole planet's just a bunch of storms. I don't know. But I think you are right though. There is historical records that the
Worf
spot
gets
just
denied
started
one last
within
time coming up.
the whole, you know,
Oh.
1700s era of scientific progress that I was alluding to earlier.
So there is a painting from 1711 depicting
Mm-hmm.
the red spot on Jupiter.
I mean, Galileo was the first one to have a telescope and zoom in on it. Otherwise, Jupiter was just a twinkle in everybody's eye. We thought it was a star, frankly. Ryan always complains that ships never look realistic compared to the size of a planet. For once, they tried to make the Borg cube thing within the size of the storm, and then the ship itself is more realistically within the size of a planet because it literally looks like nothing against the curvature of Jupiter.
The D is it's not designed to fight the Borg at
Yeah.
all.
No. And by the way, that was just the antenna of the transceiver of the Borg cube. It wasn't even the Borg cube. So it's designed to scare us a little bit.
How is Space Dock still standing? They flew to a different star system and came back.
very powerful.
I guess if you take the whole power for everything, like life support, holodeck, and everything, and just put it straight into shields, it could withstand assault. But the other thing is, though, if they wanted to bomb Earth, they could just bomb Earth. It's not like it's forming a planetary shield.
Yeah, what,
No,
what
they've,
if,
they've got a planetary shield, fortunately.
Oh, okay. That's at Space Dock or Space Station 1. And then my other thing is, though, how come they're not trying to destroy McKinley Station? Because, like, come on, let's destroy that old relic of like the Navy shipyards from World War One.
Jesus.
Oh, but I was saying though, our warfare has changed within the last week, literally, because if you can have bombers, if you if you can have bombers taken out by like a container ship full of drones, There's container ships on every major highway of every single city and country in the world.
It's
So
so
na-
disappointing the way warfare is progressing, because the way like Star Trek does it, where it's just big, like tall ships, a couple slugging it out, that's really
Mhm.
cool. But no, real life warfare is just big swarms of tiny
Mhm.
little things.
Mhm.
That's no fun.
And so up to 30% of Russia's bomber fleet might have been taken out
Lol.
in like one day. So
Correct.
haha. Yeah. And but
Wear
they
the
only have like
uniform, get
three.
in the chair.
More importantly, like there's something called AWACS planes. They have like satellite dishes on them because they're supposed to run all the logistics of like all the
It's a radar
communication.
dome. It's a
Yeah.
radome.
So
It
they
can,
lost
it can go over the horizon.
last week.
They
They
don't-
lost
AWACS is
Portable
an
beam me
American
up.
plane.
right.
That was one in
So
Nemesis.
I was so the Russians lost one of their radar planes, which means you can't even coordinate your entire fleet anymore. Much like here.
Have you tried
I
turning
don't know
off
if
the
they
Wi-Fi
ever
7?
could coordinate their flight.
Have you tried beaming the controlled into space?
How did
They just
nobody
has a-
notice? Maybe it was deeper in and now it's just emerging for the drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the crazy part is the gravity goes like crazy over there. So I'm pretty sure you built that cube to withstand planetary
It's a
gravity.
strong cube.
Yeah, pretty.
How strong is the gravity at the, quote, surface of Jupiter?
800 times Earth's.
No, only 2.5 times Earth.
Are you sure about that?
Well, that's what Google said when I looked it up. So yes,
I don't trust Google AI.
Because I mean, isn't the mass 100 times our mass?
the mass is
least
a lot more,
yes,
but
but that
you have
does-
to keep in mind it's also bigger. You're further away from the center of
Dense.
mass.
Oh,
And
okay.
also, it's not a linear increase with mass. For example, the
Yeah.
moon is a lot lighter
Denser?
than us,
Okay,
but
right.
it is also not that much difference
It's a little
in
baby.
gravitational acceleration. It's only 10% that of Earth.
So yeah, a Borg cube could almost certainly survive
Okay.
at least the
2.5
gravity
times.
part of Jupiter.
Okay. Thanks. Good to know.
The
I
pressure
thought-
might be another issue depending
It's a
on
red
how
moon.
far.
Yeah.
you are.
Oh, the pressure is the different. The pressure is what I'm thinking of, and also, it's a gas giant, so like the density is totally different. Also, so
I hope so.
It's a red moon outside
Like-
right now.
I think both Saturn and
A
Jupiter
blood
would
moon
float
rises. Blood has been spilled
if
this
you-
night.
if you could find a bathtub big enough. Both of those planets would float, which is a pretty wild
Wait,
thing,
oh,
actually.
I didn't catch Magel's line there. I don't know what episode it was from. I just heard the word located. Or, Beverly, we can just torpedo the cube.
Yeah, why don't we just destroy it?
That's such an
We
unnecessary
don't
risk.
need Jack.
I agree, Ryan. But you know what? Okay, so this is what I was. Sorry, what were you saying, Robo?
We did the same thing for Picard in Best of Both Worlds.
Thank you.
Should
that's
just
what I
kill
was gonna
them.
say. Gracias. Well, no, not the
tear
should have
them limb
killed
from
them.
limb more than I do. Is that a reference to the time he did tear them limb from limb? In Descent, Part 1. Really, he choked one to death, but whatever.
Data?
Yeah,
I think he threatens to tear somebody limb from limb in TNG. That's
where
what
he
it is.
simply felt angry.
First time you see
Unfortunately,
Jordan
my
in
phone camera
command of
can't
the
really
Enterprise
capture
since
the
season 1
moon
of
itself.
TNG.
Oh god, Jordy wasn't... He was on the command track. He didn't look good in red.
What were
Gold
you
Jordy
saying,
is
Soma?
much better.
The chat.
My
told
phone
me.
can't capture the moon very well,
Oh, okay.
but it's a nice red moon.
You know the funny thing though, I think both Samsung and Apple have when you take a picture of the moon and you tell it to enhance, it just puts in like a picture of the moon in your shot.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, my phone isn't of that
Okay.
series that it does that.
Which is kind of weird. But it makes sense since you only see one side of the moon. It doesn't have to think too much.
So, do you think that this bridge is the definitive version of the Enterprise D bridge?
It looks the same as
Like
No,
they
TNG.
no.
obviously, well, they
obviously
but they built
They rebuilt it.
they built it from
Yeah.
scratch, but I'm sure they didn't use like drywall screws to hold the plexiglass onto the panels. I'm
Sure.
sure they made it like, more better with like actual screens and not just paper with lights behind it.
You know, they didn't make
So-
this like a set you can tour, did they? That would have been a great opportunity.
Yeah, that would have been.
They could have
But
monetized
Used it for a couple of
this.
things.
They could have had another Star Trek experience
You know,
in Las Vegas. I
The thing
think
is, that would have meant that they would have had to hire out a separate space because
I think
it would be an
the
actual
old-
studio lot.
the
They saved
old
the bridge for, I
Starfleet
think, shows
Delta
or
from the
something,
Star Trek
so they didn't make it
experience,
cheaply.
the old giant Delta sign from the Star Trek experience in Las Vegas is still visible from the monorail in
No
certain
way.
areas. Yeah.
It's
So
at
they never
Universal
like demoed
Studios
it
right
off the
now.
building.
Okay, so they still have
Oh.
it.
I'm gonna steal it one day. But yeah.
You're gonna steal
What?
the Enterprise?
Steal
It's
what?
a time-honored tradition.
The Delta sign on the Las Vegas Hilton.
There's a
it's like
FanFest thing they
10 stories
integrated it
tall.
into.
So good luck.
Oh god, I
Uh,
pressed a button. Where? Okay, I need to.
1422.
Tart's right.
Nope, that's Vox.
Yeah, 1422.
The Star Trek Experience logo featuring the Starfleet insignia is still visible outside of the West Gate, particularly near Las Vegas monorail station.
No way.
I don't know if this is their correct timestamp. I'm gonna. Beverly's saying it's entirely plausible that some small part, make it compatible with the hive. I was trying to type in
Oh.
Enterprise D Bridge into Google, and I was apparently still had the VLC in focus, and it did something.
I think you might have jumped to 1422, but it wasn't far off from where we were.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what happened to you, Ren? Okay.
Yeah,
I hate when that happens.
I stayed there in April. It's still visible. And the gift shop
Nice.
is still rocking the D-style hallways.
I'm gonna unblur the
Oh,
screen briefly so you can sync up properly.
No. You can't do that. Well, for 5 seconds or more, right? Yeah.
Okay, now we're blurred again.
So,
Paramount, don't
you
come
know-
at me.
It's gonna be like dogs hounding you in like 2 seconds. So,
Photorealistic WAF jump scare.
you know,
Well, now
It-
let me. Okay, I have my
Hey, it was
browser in
unblurred.
focus. Now I
Forgot
can
what
type
Worth
in
looked like.
Enterprise D Bridge.
you know, that's the thing about roles. Like Picard's doing what he's doing specifically because no longer because he's the captain, but he really like even though he's been thrust into the role of being a father, he understands that he has to basically. I mean, he resigns from Starfleet, right? Because this is a Starfleet mission, basically. So, for you to be like, I'm in the Borg queue, but I'm not going to be doing my job as captain right now, you're kind of giving up on.
They
You don't get
added
to take off
horrible
your clothes.
handrails and stuff to it though. I don't want to see it that way.
Hmm.
There's
That's
not
cool,
even
though.
stairs on the bridge. What do you need handrails for?
No, they said they got the corridor from the gift shop.
Oh, the
the
corridor.
outside
But
of the
it's a
gift
mini
shop.
Star Trek. The experience.
That's really cool.
He will
We should
bring
build our own
peace,
Star
the
Trek
ramp.
experience.
justice, and security to his new federation. Jack, you've been assimilated for like 5 minutes and you're... Come on, man.
Well, the same thing happened with what's the name in Prodigy?
Zero.
Gotta get down from the
Zero, yeah.
horseshoe.
Oh yeah. You know, they do this in Dune when you have like the machines bombing the people bombing through like an implant in their eye or something. They're like fire, fire, fire. You know, like target all coordinates. You know, so he's doing the same thing. I think it's a little unnecessary. It's like me insisting on reading aloud every time I have a book in my hand. So there's a lot of gab here, but I do like that it's almost like the Borg Queen knows that if Picard assimilates himself, he can get.
I think this Borg set was the set for the ship set for the first couple of episodes on the Ilios or something. I forget how to spell
I
it.
love that the AI
If you
is
search
says
Universal
Borg,
Fan Fest Star Trek,
Borge.
you'll find some videos of it.
Oh, I probably spelled it
Universal
correctly,
Fan
given
Fest
that
Star
the
Trek.
AI read it correctly.
Universal Fan Fest nights at Universal Studios. Let's see, what things
Yes,
to do?
there's
Rides and
some
attractions.
nice stuff
What
there.
attractions are there? Where's the Enterprise D? No, I don't want the Kung Fu Panda adventure. I want the Enterprise.
Yeah, we'll all be touring there for irrelevant stuff. But they have Harry Potter in Universal Studios now in Florida, which they didn't have when I was a kid in the year 2000.
There's a company that makes I think is probably the best version of the Enterprise D. It's a 6-foot version, but they make the saucer rim thick, like the 3-foot version, to match
Oh.
the dimensions of
It
10
closed
forward
May
set.
18th.
Oh, so okay. I missed the second Star Trek experience.
There
Oh,
was a
thank
second
you.
Star Trek experience.
Well, the Universal Fan Fest apparently had a Star Trek portion of it.
So they make this huge model. It's
only
you can
one.
buy them. They're very expensive. But they have phaser strips that are like fully animated with LEDs. It's really cool.
Nice.
First one closed in 08.
Yeah, I went to that actually.
Is
Seven,
it
that's
such
not
a
as
shame?
inspirational as you think.
Yeah. The Doctor Who experience closed before I
TTS
could
is being
access
very
it
bored
as
for
well.
ease.
TTS?
Text to speech.
Okay, right. Thanks. You know,
This one was only a month or so. But there are videos on YouTube if you want to see what they had going.
Well, I appreciate that Picard at least tried. I don't understand why the Queen is so obsessed with him. He was only assimilated for like a day. You barely even knew him, Alice.
yeah, but the first contact thing was also ruined by him. And then
She
And so
wanted an
Picard is using a
equal.
different phaser to that which Jack was using.
Didn't Alice die shortly after they filmed all this?
Yes.
Just like the Borg Queen.
from the Jurati
So cool
season.
they got Alice to do the voice.
The Queen
Yeah,
is
it
just a
really is.
big fan of the best of both worlds.
Yeah. So true. Did you want to say something, Sam?
But she didn't even exist in Best of Both Worlds. She's a retcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're correct.
She
No,
looks
look,
super spooky
okay.
here. They did a great job with the makeup and prosthetics.
Yeah.
And this Borg set is among the best of the best.
That's why she's a fan of it. She watched it and joined the Borg.
This does not look like the same set as the Artifact. I think they made a different set for this.
Yeah.
Which feels
Probably.
weird. They had a set for the Borg Cube. Maybe they broke it down already.
That was 2 seasons before this.
for the
Supposedly, the
same
crew only
show.
had 2 days to do the Enterprise bridge scenes for some reason.
Probably because of Marina Sirtis not being able to work in the US for that long.
The British. Though, really, I mean, there's not that much to do on the bridge anyway.
Yeah.
No, okay, but the point is though, how much work is that for somebody to give you a blueprint from something from 35 years ago and be like, hey, make this. And you got to make it as close as possible.
I actually can't hear you over all the explosions. Hang on.
Sorry, I was away from the mic too. I was saying the point is it's so hard to make a recreation of something from 35 years ago.
Is it? They had plenty of references. It's only a model.
Do you know that beam in the center? That's the only thing they didn't do. They did cut corners on clearly, but that the wooden beam that
Good luck
separates
sourcing the carpet.
Yeah.
Alice, why are we monologuing your evil plan? Come on, girl.
Yeah. I also do gotta say, you know,
Wheaton and Mike Okuda filmed a special about the bridge set.
oh wow. By the way, there was a ship called the USS Okuda, which is a TNG reference because they were the creators of the Lucar's interface
Is he
for
the
TNG.
prop guy?
Yeah, basically.
He's
Production designer.
Michael Okuda and his wife, I can't remember her name, but her last name's also Okuda.
Denise.
They wrote to Roddenberry. He wanted to be involved in the
Oh, they were fans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Wanted
too
to be
old for
involved
this
in the production of-
asterisk T.
Yeah, so I think he met his wife there and they later got married. But together they produced so much Star Trek content
They
for
were married
Voyager
before.
and DS9. Okay. But they produced the Star Trek Encyclopedia, a lot of CD-ROMs.
Riker and Worf have both been shot by this point, but they're both fine.
The Okudas designed iCars and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
surely they should be
Okuda,
disintegrated.
Michael Okuda and other Okudas really have done a lot with Star Trek.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Ryan, about Riker and Worf?
How are they still alive?
Michael
They've
started
both
with
been
the
shot
voyage
by the
home,
Borg.
doing the graphics on the A bridge.
I guess because they're expensive.
Okay, but the idea is, though, there's only like 5 Borg left because she's cannibalizing them?
Denise was a nurse and then Michael brought her in as a PA.
No, Denise was
Production
the chief of
assistant.
security.
They mean Okuda, but yeah,
I know.
Crosby. See, so they wanted to bring back Harry Kim for this episode, but I guess they spent so much money on the TNG bridge, they didn't have money for like... We already got Tuvok, we already got Shelby, Captain Harry
Then
Kim
Bing
would have
had to
been
become a
nice.
nurse.
And then also we got Moriarty, you know, so we had to we had to make decisions here, and I think Moriarty for 2 episodes outranked Kim somehow.
You know, I think the only people that Beverly has ever actually killed directly are the Borg. So I think she has. I think she's well qualified.
Literally, fire everything.
Yeah, true.
Beverly's
That's a good explanation.
murderer now.
But Beverly's a pirate.
No, Worf.
Swords are fun.
That's not a good excuse when you're in mortal danger. Aphid, please don't eat the chips.
I love this next bit, personally.
Yeah, me too. You're gonna make me cry. By the way, they did an amazing job with the red alert klaxons. They did an amazing job with the panels. The only thing is, though, you know that turbo lift doesn't work because
Star
everybody
Wars
is like,
copy
"What-"
coming up.
Are you implying that the original ones from TNG did work?
Okay, I guess I did forget about that. No, but what I'm saying, No, but what I'm saying is though that turbo lift was so narrow, I think they didn't fit in there. You could tell they were like claustrophobic trying to get out. And we never got that with TNG, right? They were never all in a turbo lift at once.
Hey, what do you mean nothing?
Have some doggone faith, Deanna. He's got a plan.
I reckon.
He'll have this all fixed up in time for supper. Wait, Jada, why are you like swiveling around into your chair? This is a starship.
Because so
What
I think for
Jordy,
one,
did you not install inertial dampers?
Ain't no rule that says Data can't play basketball.
This would have been
And
easier
there
if they
goes.
separated that beefy saucer.
Yeah, they could have separated it. Because they don't need the star drive section at Impulse.
Take
Yeah,
the
that-
Syracuse part.
but there's actually quite a few phasers on the star drive section, so. Plus, you never know when you need the deflector dish.
Rafi, why are you acting all surprised? Of course they are. Come on.
This was well timed, also, by the way, because like usually our heroes are fine sitting there pretty.
I would not
But,
want to
like-
separate. Saucer would be like, now what do I do?
We could have had
That's
the
true.
return of the battle bridge.
The episode wasn't long enough to fit the saucer separation footage from Encounter
Oh my
at
God.
Farpoint.
They spent all that money to recreate the TNG bridge, and you want to put them in the battle bridge, and then
Yeah, why not?
oh, okay, but I did like how in like future Enterprise flashbacks, like the All Good Things and Parallel Timelines with Worf parallels, they use the battle bridge set for some of the bridge stuff. Like, you know,
Battle
Wesley
Bridge is
like
just off screen.
Technically, the battle bridge isn't in the Enterprise D. The battle bridge is in the Syracuse.
True. By the way, our heroes really shouldn't be surviving because once they have their cloak down. But you know, I gotta say, so something's really well put here. Everything is lost. If it wasn't for Picard's love for his son, it would be all over right now. Like Earth would be decimated. They would have gotten
Okay.
back there.
Those
And
were some weird
I don't-
choices of his first target locks. Like Philadelphia, who cares?
That's our freedom bell, Ryan.
What did the Borg care about the military centers, surely.
True.
Take out San Francisco, Starfleet headquarters, and take out Paris, which is Federation headquarters. Take out those first, and then you can start exterminating the population.
True. But the Borg Queen does use this line over here, Future's End.
Why
Which is,
doesn't Girardi Queen come and fix this?
The
She's
shots of all the
busy
ships together is
shielding
better
the
than that
wormhole
crappy
thing,
image
don't
of
worry
the
about
ships all together in S1
Mhm.
finale. That was just copy and paste.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the fleet formation, the formation that they're in, I don't get it, but at least they're all different classes.
So that's the other thing, though. This is the biggest battle we've had since Shintaka. So I want to appreciate the show.
If the
for
Borg
that.
targeted Iowa with a time ship, they could assimilate Kirk.
I suppose they could, or they could just get like a bunch of corn. There's not really much there. Yes,
like,
destroy
even-
your son. Beverly, the needs
even
of the
the-
many outweigh the needs of the few, or your son.
Even the Enterprise D doesn't matter. Even our heroes don't matter. We just have to stop that signal, which is Jack.
What if we
So-
jammed it by playing classical music?
Either that would be very poetic. But You know, that's the thing. We never see a personal side of Picard. The character is
The
emotionally
Borg turned the
stunted.
corn into the Gorn.
He's
I
never
like
given a
Worf
lot.
being comic relief. It's fun.
No, I like Worf being a warrior. That's more fun. But they combine it very well
He
here.
was comic relief in TNG.
At the end of TNG, he
Yeah.
was only comic
Love
relief.
Riker's coat.
He's going back to his roots.
No, he was fearsome in the beginning of TNG.
No, he wasn't.
He had a primal side.
He was not
like
even
almost...
slightly intimidating.
You had to tell him to back off a few times. So wait, this is the part that...
Oh,
Okay,
this is
this is
just Reese footage. Okay, that was
didn't
two
know.
references because this footage is from First Contact. The first footage
Yeah.
was from Best of Both Worlds.
Oh yeah, true. Where the board just puts you in a deceptive happy land. Your
Yeah.
happy place. You don't notice all the misery around you. Body parts being chopped up.
Which doesn't really track with what we know from like
Void.
Hugh or the Voyager Borg.
Yeah. But I think like you know what they did? They put a need in him. You know, like I used to watch the show Addiction. Intervention
Hey,
a
I
lot.
have my phone. Check out how you really look.
And a lot of people who are adopted, you know, they have this like deep-seated need to like, you know, anyway, they have this a lot of anxiety, and no one can understand it unless you're adopted him or her yourself. So or someone, you know, any kind of traumatic incident, like someone they started eating a lot after somebody they loved died. So we can develop
Missing parts of me.
Yeah, addictive
It's the name of the track.
tendencies to replace the part of you that's missing if you lack something.
Listen, don't. It's probably better to turn toward drugs than turn toward the Borg. This is a bad plan.
Like even at the end, right? The Borg Queen says, "You'll die alone," and he goes, "But I won't be alone." So that's what it's about. You know, you have your friends, you have your family, you got your TNG family, you got your biological family, you got your accidental family.
Or alcoholism.
It's not a phase,
Yeah.
Dad. This is what I'm. This is who I am.
Yeah.
It's not a phase.
You don't understand. I want to be a Borg.
Now explain how you remember that so exactly.
Even when he's talking to Data, he's still being racist toward Vulcans. There's not a Vulcan in sight. Not a Vulcan on the ship.
I don't see no points in them ears, boy.
What is wrong with him?
Son, you sound like a Karen.
Okay, and something really amazing because again, the theme of this show is relationships and people we love. That defines us being human. It's they don't know where they are, but only when Riker thinks of Thaddeus, their infant son who passed away, does
Thaddeus.
Troy know where they are.
Thaddeus Riker.
And otherwise, right? Otherwise, our heroes would have been lost. The 5 people on top of the, with the Borg, the 4 with the Borg.
Jordy, why
Worf
didn't you
Riker.
install upgraded sensors? Why did you have to use the 20-year-old ones?
20, 40. What? Maybe more like 50 in this timeline.
No,
Yeah,
it's 35.
35. No need to age us, Robo. We know
So
we're
this is
old.
the equivalent of using tech from 1990.
Yeah.
Look at pictures taken with a digital camera from the 90s.
Those sensors are almost
Did
as
they
old as I
have
am.
digital cameras in the night? Well, they did, but
They
were
did, yes,
awful.
and they had ones that recorded directly on a 3.5 floppy.
Yep. We didn't even have lithium-ion batteries back then. We were still using nickel cadmium.
I think we had early lithium-ion batteries.
I mean,
It's a green void.
Digital film
Wow.
cameras.
That was
Prices were OOF.
Yeah. And like Robo said,
Price-
though, you recorded it on a floppy disk. It wasn't even like you had.
we had first generation. We had compact flash, which is actually it's basically like another form of IDE, of shrunken down IDE. And we had Sony memory stick early on, like very early ones. I still have kicking around somewhere a 256 megabyte Sony memory stick, like the full size. Obviously SD took over. So
This is how I know Picard's golem is still fleshy in some way. When he pulls out the nanoprobes, he just heals by himself. So there's some kind of
I have a
Yep.
laptop that had a combo SD/memory card slot, which was actually kind of neat. I don't think they do that anymore.
Oh, that hurt, damn it.
Does Sony still use their memory stick format, or have they given up on?
Oh my god, Deanna, you have something to do on this show.
she's repairing their marriage.
Oh boy, this scene. The audience blew up during the Troy take the helm scene.
Troy gets so much
So-
undeserved flack.
Yeah.
Sony has like a 50/50 rate with like creating formats. So Sony created 3.5 floppy, Sony created compact disc and Blu-ray, but they also created Betamax and memory stick. And what else? I'm trying to think if they created anything else that didn't catch on. So maybe they're 3 for 5.
It's the Enterprise. Wait, the Enterprise, it looks really close, but if it's as close as it looks, it's really small.
It is a miniature D. It doesn't look
That
chunky.
thing's supposed to be
Remember,
a city.
there is a deleted scene with Geordi saying, "You crashed the Enterprise twice."
But she
Cool.
didn't.
What if they
I mean, in her defense, even she got the ship in one piece. Like,
what if
She
Jordy's like, I've been
landed
restoring her all this time?
She landed a big
then he had a
circle perfectly on a planet with no casualties, with no engines,
right,
at orbital velocity.
right, without it melting up, So
What if Jordy was like, I've been restoring her all this time, and he opens up the hangar and there's like a model. It's like a 2.5 foot model, and they're
Ship
like,
in a bottle.
Jordy,
Black
we
square
can't.
button explosion symbol.
He's like, get in, and they're like, we can't. It's a model. Get in. He points a phaser at them.
We have precedent for that. We can shrink people.
Oh yes, we can.
We can make it
Deep
tiny.
Space Nine did Oops, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids episode.
I Shrunk the Officers.
Let's take the Enterprise A instead.
okay, good. We don't have to kill everybody who's under 25 because that
No, we
would have
cured
been
the
like,
assimilation. We fixed it.
otherwise we would have lost some good people even on this stream.
You
I
can
don't
always
like- I
make
don't
more.
like the-
That's
I
sort
don't
of the
like
point
the-
of children.
Yeah, I don't like the one with the green eyebrows or lack of eyebrows and green lines.
It's rude.
It's creepy looking.
You're creepy looking.
Yeah, but it's not our world anymore, Robo. It's the TikTok generations.
He's still
Remove the
wearing.
face
He's still
to
wearing all the
ornament.
Borg stuff.
Well, see, he doesn't really have time to change. They're a little busy.
He just unplugged
What if
himself.
what if while he's hugging her,
This
it
cease
just
is
goes into
goofy.
autopilot
Don't you
and
know
starts
how many people you've been up?
assimilating?
Plus, their transporters aren't corrupted. They would have taken out all the Borg. Messed up.
Ah,
stuff.
besties.
So we saved Earth. Do we put down
and
a
then Worf snoring.
TNG reference for Future's End? Because the Borg Queen said Future's End, and that's a first contact.
That's a Voyager reference.
Right, that's a yes, but
The
she
Worf
also says
snoring
in
scene is Terry's dad snoring for sleep up or something.
Watch Your Future's End. So something TNG
We
did
could watch Future's End. I mean, it's a good episode.
with
Now,
Henry
I
Starling.
liked this episode, but I hate the end of it.
Yeah. So, but something TNG does, and this show unnecessarily went into, there's that 90s humor of like Worf snoring and like Picard saying lines that aren't that funny, but like the laugh track would be laughing at it if we had one. It was a little.
We've
find it-
never had a
Evidently, is a
laugh track
crappy villain.
in Star Trek, have we?
No, if
False.
we had one. So,
When Data was trying to learn how to be funny from Joe Piscopo.
yeah,
we had the
one.
laugh track on the holodeck.
Yeah.
But we never had laugh track of like an actual laugh track.
But what I'm saying
To
is
see
though,
what we get in Strange New Worlds.
like Picard says, "Oh, the thing I missed here was the carpet." That's not even that funny of a line, and
The
like,
outrageous
I don't know
O'Connor
why
LOL.
they have one of the greatest characters in all of fiction repeat, like make a dull joke like that.
Oh, hey,
For
Tim.
Tuvok.
But, anyway. But again, that's 90s. If you watch TNG in the 90s, or you watch any kind of TV show in the 90s, there was a lot of like fun family humor like that.
Yeah, but Tuvok, that's what you're supposed to do.
Like Picard at the Riker and Troy's wedding. Have you two thought about me and what it's gonna do to my life? I mean, I hope nobody ever thinks to write that into an actual best man's wedding speech. It's not that great of a
Look, it
sentiment.
was a different time. People were just
Yeah.
They didn't have humor in the 90s. It hadn't been invented yet.
The video of him making the evil smirk from episode 7 was just. Oh boy.
This bit
Jarek-
also is a bit off.
Yeah, Jarek's just complaining about it. How we only learned that Captain Shaw is not that bad of a guy after this scene. They never had a reconciliation, but he does
Tertiary
recommend
adjunct of
her.
Unimatrix 01.
The-
That's also
Pushing it
Todd
in.
Chadwick is younger than Jerry Ryan. He's
Really? Wow.
But he's been in Starfleet longer than she has.
Mm,
Watching it again, it does make a little bit of sense that he calls her 7 of 9 in this recording, because it's him physically not being able to acknowledge it, seeing her standing in front of him, knowing that she was a Borg, and
think it's
having
because
that
he knows
trauma
he's gonna
around
get
it.
an HR.
Oh.
If,
No,
if
he's
Starfleet
traumatized.
knows that he's dead naming her, then they're going to have questions for him. So in the official report, he uses the proper name.
That's a good
Also, a
one.
valid
Should listen to the
explanation.
commentary to this episode.
No,
This is
but
the
I mean,
commentary for this episode.
this is an inappropriate joke, but Carlos Mencia, who is okay comedian,
I'll
but
just hover
he
over
had
the
a
mute
line.
button just in case.
I'm sweating like John McCain at a Vietnamese restaurant, but that's kind of the idea. Is that he is scared, of like looking at an X-Borg in front of him.
I think he's just a jerk.
Yeah,
Carlos Mencina?
Oh my god, Worf, not everything's a weapon metaphor.
it's like an early 2000s comedian. He wasn't that great.
I know who Carlos Mencina is.
7 should have been an acting ensign with the season 1 Wesley shirt.
The rainbow sweater.
Then she
or
could
the
outrank Harry
solid gray
Kim.
sweater with the turtleneck.
I was just thinking, because I'm on almost the end of season 6 of Voyager, and really Jerry Ryan could have left because that role was so hard and you were getting the worst plots and costumes. But she really gave us an amazing character, and we see the culmination of that thanks to Picard, the show. Because
They should have
now
had her in the finale. They should have had her
she's Captain
bring back the
Material.
cat suit.
More,
No.
more even than Harry Kim.
Don't be like
Like-
Rick.
Harry is
'Cause
still
she had
cleaning the shitters of Voyager A.
She Kim grew up a perfect Starfleet officer, but like 7 to be like, I want to resign, and they were like, no, that's why we want you, because you're the one to be like, look, I know it's against regulations to commandeer the ship and take it to the edge of the Federation space, but these two, Picard and Riker, you have to listen to them. Yeah, I'm willing to give up my career for this. Ugh, so amazing. Anyway, sorry, I'm gushing.
What's not amazing is Worf being kind of one note, even 35 years later. It is your weapon against what? It's like sponges are a warrior's tool against dirty dishes. It's like, Worf, come on. Not everything's about battle.
Yeah, good observation, Ryan. I like the sponges reference.
I saw the word Bajor. That's a Star Trek planet.
7 looks a hell of a lot better in the Starfleet uniform than those crappy cat suits. Kinda like kawaii in that fashion.
Now I want
Honestly,
Worf to advertise sponges.
Today is a good day to clean.
Honestly, I would have left the show after like 1 year. As soon as my contract's over, I'm like, no, thank you. Like, I don't think this show's that great. I don't think the writing's that great.
No, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if the writing is good. What matters is, are they paying you?
Well,
you get cash.
But you know, I guess as an actor, you're always trying to see, is this going to make my career
Tawari's
better?
teal dress was cool.
But anyway, like I said, I'm really grateful for Jerry Ryan. I think like she delivered a lot. There's very few characters that'll recur over different seasons and decades, actually.
The fleet. Okay, we're back at the Fleet Museum. What's in the fleet now? Is this Enterprise D in the museum?
Yeah, money's good. I'm staying.
It doesn't really fit.
There it is.
I don't think the money was that great in the 90s, but okay, if you guys say so. Plus, mind you, they were all working 16-hour days. So
well, if they weren't doing this, she would have been a cashier at Target. So
that might have been it.
That's what they told Terry Farrell.
Rick, when you say
she wanted more
we
money,
definitely mean Rick.
Yeah.
When she wanted more money, and they're like, "No, we'll just recast you."
I mean, the industry is brutal that way. Again, I mean, I guess we should thank all actors.
And by the industry, you mean Rick.
Yeah. And
we got Esri, and Esri was the best version of Dags, but only for the one season.
Okay, what episode is that from? Shutdown procedure initiated. I would bet it's from the Die Hard episode.
Yes, yes, Starship Mine. Yep.
Oh, Starship Mine.
I missed that voice. You know what he really meant.
It's when they were shutting it down to get scrubbed.
It is?
Yeah, we
gotta clean out all the tachyon neutrino residue or whatever.
Rick Berman was the new Maurice Hurley.
Been fine without the names mean everything and renaming it to the Enterprise F. No, G.
You know, I really thought they were going to name it the Picard, which would have been nice too.
I thought they were going to name it Picard, yeah. Which would have been okay, but...
Yeah, I thought, because you don't want to rewire the whole canon.
Hang on, let me put on Starship Mine.
Yeah.
It's a good episode.
It's a great episode.
Yeah, it's a fun episode.
No, you know why it's a great episode? It's because they have all the lights off.
Picard was the original idea.
And you never get like the ship turned off like that. It's kind of weird to see, but you see how stunning the exterior of the ship is.
See, this is the benefit of having a fully CGI starship. The actors can just act all impressed to a screen.
Yeah.
And then they can just
It's okay,
put
they
on
can
whatever
rename the
name
back
they want
half of the
later on.
Syracuse to Titan B.
Yeah. Okay.
They could even change it right now. They could upload a new version to Paramount Plus that says USS Picard.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be. Thought it was going to be the Picard. Enterprise G doesn't make sense. Enterprise F is right there. You still have the F. There's nothing wrong with the F.
Yeah, but you know why, Robo? Because you can't take the G out of game, and that's what Jack Crusher has.
Don't call it
this was
G.
It's weird. It's just a weird lineage here. And then why does it have
Yeah.
old style phasers?
Because he puts the G in game.
But then it also has phaser strips, so I'm doubly confused. Why does it have both?
Why not?
Because you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't have
Ship engineering
old and
isn't
new
about
and...
why, it's about why not. Why not marry logical ship
It
design? if you love
is
it so much?
100%. It is 100% about why.
What would you
Well,
know
justify
about engineering
every
a
single-
vehicle?
That's my job. You have to justify every single
Metala
fastener.
system.
Way too much similarly to the refit
Metalis? Oh, right,
1701
that's
and A.
the Star Trek production person.
Yes.
He's the
I don't know what
showrunner of the
the
show
job is.
now. No, he ran the show.
I have to make
last
a case
season and this season.
for every piece of tape that is used.
Also, he was he was a gopher in Voyager, so he wound up running the show.
Picard, get
25
out of my
years later.
chair, boy.
So is he the first officer under Captain 7?
No, he's the captain's special envoy.
He's Naomi Wildman.
Yeah.
Captain's assistant.
No, but you know what though?
I'm sure Harry Kim wouldn't mind working
It's
under
because
7.
Shaw built the Titan A in Star Trek Online.
No, but here's the thing, right? Remember how they fast tracked Chris Pine, Captain Kirk, in the movies? So they're clearly fast tracking Picard's son to be
Nepotism.
in command. No, it's not nepotism. These three proved themselves to have saved the entire fleet on Federation Day. So have a seat.
He didn't. He made everything worse.
He did. No. Also,
he
him
willingly
jumping
went
out,
to the Borg to get assimilated.
he left
Yeah.
with his dad when the moment of truth came. So that's what's important. He's
Oh,
clearly
here we
expressing
have
faith.
the line about what line to go with.
Engage.
It was fine the first time, but that's
we can
it.
stop.
What would be your line, Soma?
No, see, the whole point
It
is you don't
doesn't
need to
matter.
decide on a line.
I think you'd say evaporate.
I would just it just depends on what we're doing. Like if we're leaving space or take us out, if we're going as to say warp or what have you, it doesn't matter.
People still won't shut up about it.
I would like the ship to go
Execute.
now. I want you to make the ship go now.
Worf, give us some Octul and Melota.
You know what mine be? I'd be the
Melota.
Okay, yes. Thank
Mugato
you.
more ship.
Mugatos
Okay, so-
are the big Yeti monsters from TOS and later Lower Decks. The Magutus.
They're
I
more
like about the ending like this. I like. And there's bits I don't like what Justice does.
Does this data drink?
Where's Laris? They screwed her over this season.
Ah,
I
that is
think-
a reference to TNG when he was trying out humor in season 1, probably, based on how bad the joke is.
Yeah. Yeah. So Laris and Elnor and Girardi don't get any appearances this season. We didn't have enough time.
Or
Yeah.
the main character of season 1, just completely written out of the show.
Yeah. Well, look.
Gooey Dan is
We
just
need-
off screen.
This is why this is really season 8 of TNG. Not a bad season, by the way.
That's the
Uh,
first
we-
contact theme specifically.
They've
That's
been using
precisely
first
what they
contact
said that
scene
they didn't want in
every
season
right.
8 of TNG.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. But here we are, Robo. Like, here we are. And you know
Laris
what,
is
though?
in episode
Honestly,
1, actually.
thank you.
Yes, and then she gets ignored for the rest of the season,
So
even when
we
they're
do
home.
this poker game that they're gonna play, right? The
Yep,
director. Go ahead, Soma.
they just filmed them for a full 10 minutes or something.
A full 8 hours they filmed them.
Oh, yeah, there's a long time they filmed for.
He never yelled cut. He just let the camera roll and they kept playing and playing and playing and playing. So you know what they should have done? They should have released that on like streaming just for us to like.
Yeah.
You know, I want to work with that in the background with my favorite actors.
He folded the card.
Can't
I
do
think he
that.
folded the card.
I wonder if Beverly,
You know,
or
because-
not Beverly, what's his name? Jordy. I wonder if he's still cheating by looking through the cards.
Haha, it was an hour. You actually see Gates looking up really quick during the credits.
Oh my God, Gates, you can't do that.
Okay, an hour for like a 10-minute shot is like ridiculous. But you
There was
know,
like a 2-minute shot.
yeah. But the thing is that, you know, because if you didn't know, TNG's All Good Things ends on Picard rejoining their card game. And he's like,
Yes.
I'm always aloof and I never join you guys because
Past a
I'm trying to
certain
do
time,
the...
I wonder if they started cracking jokes.
I would assume
for
so.
sure.
I mean, they're having a gay old time right now, so.
Well, two of these things are true.
It is Pride
That's
Month.
They're having a yabba dabba do time.
All right, I guess this poker counts as a reference. In
They're
and
not
of
even
itself.
playing poker. What are they playing? They're just throwing
They
stuff
just
around.
said Riser 6 cards.
Rise of
Yeah, but
Sun.
then they said, what the hell is that? Or whatever that is. So they know they're just having fun tossing cards around for an hour at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so
But,
that
oh
was
my God.
Star Trek Picard. It's over. It's all done.
Amazing card table. The game's still going. Amazing card table, by
This
the way. I love how
hour
it's
is
lit
going to last forever.
up.
They're playing Calvin Ball, but with cards.
Okay, thank you.
What was
So-
they're playing Fizbin. Fizbin.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Except on a Tuesday.
Do they have Tuesdays on the Gangster Planet?
Of course they
But,
have Tuesdays.
All right,
So
so
this
our
was
final
a-
count was 153 noted references.
Ooh.
Very
And
Across
lots
the whole
more
show.
to other shows and things as well.
Oh, Fizbin,
Yeah,
that's
there's
perfect.
a lot of DS9. There's a lot of Voyager.
Yeah, true.
And TOS.
Even the
And
Mugatu
TOS.
reference at the end was like, thank you, TOS.
All right, so our next show, this is still going. This is such a long
Yeah.
poker scene. Or Rise of 6 cards scene. How come Jordy and Marina are only special guest stars?
Oh,
Because
because
they're in it less than the others. They're not
By the way,
main cast.
you missed it though. Brent LeVar, everybody else
Wait,
is also.
Wait, we're still
guest star.
going. I forgot about this. No, we're still going.
She
There's,
looks up when
There's,
her name is on screen.
Look at
Yes, it's the
John.
Q scene.
This is leading up to Legacy.
Well,
Well,
That's not even Captain Picard and Beverly Crusher. That's straight up. That's Patrick
Stock
Stewart and
footage.
Gates McFadden.
it's stock footage.
That's not. That's a picture of them at some award
Oh.
show.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ryan. I missed that. I thought they just took on any stock photo that it comes in, because it comes in a photo of like stock footage, and they photoshopped their heads on.
The next gen. Never mind. It's 154 actually.
Picture from 88.
Oh, by the way, their comm badges are from.
So what I told him was true from a certain point of view.
there's
The
about to be
trial-
another one as well. The trial never ends.
The trial never ends. Okay.
I know, it says just be done. He doesn't say trial never ends.
Well, that's what
So
that
not
means.
quite.
That's what that means.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
not
it's
actually
hard to play with.
I'm
I'm trading in the old bald model for a new young model with hair.
All right, now Picard is over. Now it's done.
And next week we've got a
LeVar
really
and
fun
Marina
show.
are special guests because Stuart Baird is still mad they said Nemesis sucked.
Okay. All right, so yes, next week we're starting Lower Decks, which is a very good show. And
It's the best
because
one
the
yet.
episodes are a little bit shorter, we're going to do 5 at a time.
F Baird.
Yeah.
And that'll work out nicely because
That's-
each season is 10 episodes, so it'll be 2 streams per season.
Best new trick.
And then so that'll be 10 streams for Lower Decks, and then we'll go to Strange New Worlds, and then, well, we'll see if they put out another Star Trek show in the meantime. But we might be getting to the end of streams. It might be close to over.
Thank you,
I'm
Ryan.
saying we just start from TNG and go it again.
Thank you,
No. No.
Ryan's like, I need to close this chapter of my life.
Yeah, he does.
It's been 30 years. I'm old, Gandalf.
It's been 6 years. 5 years? 5
I
years?
don't look it, but I'm beginning to feel it in my heart. No, this needs to end at some point.
Yeah.
You are always old to me, Ryan.
I'm younger than you.
It doesn't matter.
All right, bring your bad
yeah,
news.
there might be new Star Trek because I know they are making new
Like
Star
butter
Trek. The
scraped
question is
over
just
too much bed.
how quickly does it? Jesus, too much bared, ridiculous. The question is just
Happy Frontier
when does
Day.
the final the next series actually come out? I don't know what the next series is after Strange New Worlds. Is Star Trek Legacy a real thing, or is that just a rumor?
No, it's not. It's not.
No,
in
it hasn't
production or
kicked off
anything.
yet.
It's not even greenlit.
No.
Okay. So right now
It
it's
should be
just
greenlit,
Strange New
but it's
Worlds
not.
Need to
and
put those
Starfleet
old
Academy?
sciences in the stream.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Rumor
Higher
sadly.
here.
Is that all?
Happy
Nothing
Frontier
else
Day.
happening? Oh, hang on. According to the Star Trek subreddit, there is some other Star Trek series. Let me click on the link and see what this is. Stranger Worlds, Prodigy, what do we know? Starfleet Scouts? Star Trek Starfleet Scouts. What is that?
Oh yeah, there is another one that is I've forgotten her name, but
Oh god. A new animated series focused on 3 8 to 9-year-old friends as they go to school on an Earth-like planet.
that might be the show written by.
Do new voyages
forgotten
and
her name.
continues count?
Have I forgotten both her and her character's name? Lower
never-
Decks.
Yeah, the lady. Tawny Newsome.
Tony Newson. Yeah.
No, I've never watched Star Trek Continues or any of the fan-made projects. Like, oh god, what's it called? The
Sonar.
prequel to Axanar. Yeah, I never watched that. Maybe I should at some point. Maybe we can do this. I don't know. Though
Got Walter Koenig in it, doesn't it?
They have their moments.
all I know
Continues is good.
that Ambassador Saval is in it. He's in one of those projects. And he's a pretty good guy. I like that ambassador. It's a good ambassador.
New voyages had Koenig, not continues.
Okay, well, whatever the future is, for today, we're done. Go away.
Have a good one.